Good evening, everyone. How are we all doing? Welcome along to the Sports Corner Live. We are back once again for darting action. It feels like forever and a day, doesn't it, since we had the last tournament, the Ladbrokes UK Open. But we're back, and we have more watch-along content over the next week. Not over just the next week. The next 2 months, we've got non-stop watch-along action to come for you from the Unibet Premier League of Darts. I'm excited. I'm guessing most of you guys are probably excited. It's a fantastic day, no doubt, to come full of darting drama, let's hope. But first of all, Jacob's in the stream. How are you doing, Jacob? He's just put, I've just subscribed. Thank you very much, buddy. Greatly appreciated. Jason's in the stream. He says, come on, Nathan Aspinall. Very best of luck to Aspie tonight. Emma's in the stream. She's saying, come on, Gary Anderson. Come on, Gary. We're all backing you, my absolute God amongst men. I love Gary Anderson, favourite player, but hopefully he does well. And most importantly, we've got some really big action to come. I need to quickly sort my screen. Ta-da! There we go. How are we all doing? Welcome along. This is it. Well, we had, 4 weeks ago? It was the case of James Wade getting himself onto the stage for the final up against Luke Humphries, which he won. And that feels like a long time ago since we had that. But we're back once again with darting action. And no doubt there's lots of drama to come over the next 17 nights. There's a lot to talk about, which we will go through. First game coming up in just a few minutes' time. That will be Aspinall coming up against the defending champion Glen Durrant. But first of all, I think it's the main talking point today. It will be a very controversial talking point for a few weeks to come, and that is the big news coming out this morning from about 10 a.m. that Gerwyn Price will not be taking part in this tournament due to a positive COVID test. Now, there's so much controversy around this, I guess is the best way to put it. Of course, he basically had a positive test on Sunday. He's come out today and actually said he didn't have a positive test, which we'll talk about more in a second. But, you know, I've got my thoughts and opinions on it. No doubt everybody else has got their thoughts and opinions in the chat. Chris is in the building. How you doing? Hope you're all good, buddy. Same with Daz as well. But, look, it's a shame to not have the world number one there. It's going to be one of those points which I think there'll be a lot of people talking about for quite some time. And as you can see on your screen right now, this is what Gerwyn Price had to say just a couple of hours ago on Instagram.
Well, I've been home about 2 hours, so I thought maybe I'd try and do an home test, 30-minute rapid test, to see if I was actually positive. But I did 3.
It's bonkers, isn't it? It's absolutely bonkers.
All 3 says negative.
And that's basically the clip that was shown. He put up on Instagram a couple of hours ago, basically saying that he'd done 3 tests at home. They all came back negative. So he's a little bit, of course, and definitely, I understand why, frustrated at the fact he cannot participate in this tournament. And it's a real shame for him. It would have been nice to have had him here. I know there's a lot of people out there who will be celebrating the fact that he's not here to take part in this tournament. But look, at the end of the day, I think we had it at the Ball Sports, didn't we, in the Grand Slam? I think Adrian Lewis was one of the players who wasn't able to make it into the tournament because of a positive COVID test. He had to drop out. And in the end, we had Simon Whitlock come in, who we all know actually made the final of the competition in the end and lost. But we've got James Wade. He comes into the competition 10 times, winner not of this competition, but 10-time winner of some of the biggest tournaments. He has actually won this competition a couple of years ago. I think it was in 2009, which is a long time ago. But look, at the end of the day, I think it's good that we've got somebody else who can come in, but at the same time, it's a really bizarre situation. As for James Wade, of course, it's a really good opportunity for him, and he was talking a couple of hours ago, actually, to the PDC about the fact that he's been called up to this event, and this is what he had to say, based on the fact that he's going to be playing tonight against Gary Anderson, and in the future, 17 nights of the tournament? I mean, that's a little bit of the interview. I'm not going to show too much of it, because time-wise, we are of the essence for today's action. But look, I think it's one of those situations where we have to just get on with it. We know it's a real shame at the fact that Price isn't here. And, fingers crossed, depending on what happens in the world with COVID and stuff, he'll be here next year, which I'm looking forward to. As much as people don't like Price, I really like watching Price because I think he brings a lot of passion. But ultimately, we could see it maybe allow the likes of Van Gerwen and Peter Wright to start thinking that they can go on and win the competition. And I'm really looking forward to it overall. But let's have a quick look at what you've been saying in the chat. I'll talk through what's to come over the next 17 nights and how it's all planning out the Premier League of Darts before we get into game number 1, which is Nathan Aspinall, who comes up against Glen Durrant. Jacob saying, I love how he's showing the interviews. I thought, why not spice it up a little bit, make it look more professional, as we do with these watch-alongs on the channel. To just make you aware as well, for those of you expecting these games to be streamed live on the channel, we can't because of copyright. I apologise about that. As much as I would love to sit here and just show you the game, unfortunately for now we can't. So that's why we do these watch-along style stuff in the end. But look, as Daz has put, it's Wade's birthday tomorrow. And it's mine as well. Very, I bet you're looking forward to it, Daz. But it could be a good birthday treat for James Wade. But let's go back to the point of this Premier League overall. I think for me, it's the most open Premier League we've probably had. Not in terms of the quality of opponents. I think a lot of these players right now are not in good form. And this will be a competition that gets them into form, especially over these first 5 nights and how this actual whole Premier League is going to run out. But I think a lot of these players right now aren't in form. They've struggled a little bit. I think a few will be quite disappointed with how they've started 2021 overall. But we'll talk about that in a little moment's time because we will go over the actual odds for each player and where they're projected to maybe finish in this tournament. But looking at what you guys have been saying in the stream, of course, do tell me in the chat who you want to see win this competition because that's what we're all here for. We saw Glen Durrant win it only a few months ago. Feels like a long, long time since that point. But Chris saying MVG and Wright will be rubbing their hands, and I definitely agree with you. I think both of those will be thinking they've got a serious chance of winning this now, although if I'm being honest with you, I think Van Gerwen has got a long way to go before he can start thinking about winning this, especially with how he played last year in the Premier League. Stanislav, hope you're all good, buddy. Welcome to the stream. Says, I love Price. Next year he's going to win the league. I think a lot of people were expecting him to win the league. I'm not going to lie, I thought he was up there to win it. And then he's also putting some of the odds in the chat, which we will talk about in a little moment's time. Chris has put Glen Durrant and Rob Cross to get relegated. I think that's one actually to definitely say whether who you think is going to get relegated as well. And then Chris has also put Glen Durrant to become first defending champion to get relegated. He's so out of form, but I could be wrong. I will come back to that point in a little moment's time. As for Ben Lawson, how you doing, buddy? How good? He's put, I think Clayton could do well, or Anderson maybe. I'm always going to back my boy Gary Anderson. I'm hoping he does well indeed overall. But Jacob says apparently there's someone on YouTube showing it. They've got Max Hop on. If only we could get a darts player on our channel, maybe one day. But let's talk about those odds because I think that's something that's really, really important to talk about at this early stage. I said before, I think a lot of these players right now aren't in form. I think there's a lot of work to do for 90% of the players with how 2021 has started for them. But let's take a look at the odds first to see who has been projected to win this tournament. And we'll start off with the odds-on favourite, or well, the more likely player to win, which is Michael van Gerwen, 6-4 to win this tournament. That will have certainly increased from Gerwyn Price dropping out of the tournament. As for Peter Wright, his odds will have dropped slightly as well. I think he was around 7-1 at one point. He's now dropped to 4-1. And then one of the debutants, really, really interesting shout, this one, Johnny Clayton, 7-1 to potentially win this tournament. I think that is a brilliant, brilliant shout. One of the more informed players of the year so far. Gary Anderson, who for me has been one of the players, I really love him, really enjoy watching him, but he's not been good enough so far this year. He's currently sat at 9-1, while Dimitri van Bergh, the World Match Play winner, back from last year against Gary Anderson, he finds himself at 11-1 odds to win. As for the other players, the bottom 5, I guess you could say, Jose de Sousa, 12-1 for the special one to win this. Look, I think he's a great player on his day. Could be interested to see how he does over time, whether he's going to be able to win it or not is another question in its own. But I think 12-1 is not bad odds. But very good odds, I have to say, for both of these players. James Wade, 16-1. Now, he has also come out and said he's not actually been practicing, which is something that, well, one, I wouldn't have expected him to be doing anyway. And two, I think it's something that Wade usually doesn't do anyway. So realistically, practicing might not matter at this certain stage. But 16-1 is quite an interesting shout. Nathan Aspinall, though, made the final last year against Glen Durrant. He's also sat at 16-1 to win this, which I think is a very, very interesting shout indeed. And of course, he's not in the best of form right now. He's been struggling a little bit, Nathan Aspinall. But look, it's all about getting that early form in this competition. And maybe Aspinall can get there in the end, and that 16-1 odds might be a good shout. 20-1 for Glen Durrant, the defending champion. I don't think he's going to defend it. He's had a very, very awful start to the year. In fact, it was a terrible end to 2020 as well, and then sat bottom, as I think everybody expected. The one man who has not really been in the greatest of form, has he? Rob Cross. I think he's currently, is he 5th in the world right now? I think now James Wade 4th. There's a lot of work to do, in my opinion, for Rob Cross. And maybe at 33-1, I don't see him winning it, but he could be quite an interesting shout to see how he does in this group stage. Because, look, he's going to be coming in here. Maybe, I'd have probably said, not likely to win it, but he won't have many people backing him. And that for me, is kind of a positive for Rob Cross. He can just go out there, he can play, and not have to worry about pressure, is probably the best way to put it. But we're going to go into our first game in a moment. First game of the night is going to be Aspinall against Glen Durrant. But before that, I've made my predictions before the tournament took place on who I think is going to win these matches. Of course, had to change them because Gerwyn Price has been knocked out. But this is my prediction for tonight's match between Aspinall and Durrant. Do you agree with me or not? You'll have to tell me in the comments below. Here we go.
The first night of action in the Premier League of darts is the moment that I think we've all been waiting for. You know, it was only about 4 weeks ago that we saw James Wade lift the UK Open trophy, but we're back once again, and for a competition that's usually going on for months and months, it's all crammed into the next 2 months, even less than that. So, you know, sit back, relax and enjoy. It's going to be a brilliant competition. But each night throughout our darts and drinks show, or whatever you want to call it these days, I am going to be doing predictions for each night and every single match throughout this competition. So without further ado, get your bottles of gin or whatever you're drinking these days at the ready, and let's go for our predictions for tonight's games. It's Bank Holiday Monday. It's day number 1. Who's going to win? Let's find out. So, game number 1. Nathan Aspinall taking on Glen Durrant, the Premier League holder, against a man who's in a little bit of a patchy run of form, you have to say, which could be said about both players. But when I look at this game, I think Glen Durrant has been in quite patchy form. Nathan Aspinall, it's hard to really judge which one's been in the worst form recently, but both coming into this competition with a little bit of a break. There hasn't been a floor tournament going on for the last week or two, I believe, so lots of time for both players to really practice ahead of this tournament. And I think Glen Durrant, I have to say, first of all, it's the toughest Premier League of darts, in my opinion, that I think I've seen for a long, long time, if not one of the toughest ever. And it's going to be hard for Glen Durrant to be able to hold his title. I think, you know, you guys will have seen earlier on stream the predictions, at the very least, from the bookies for who's going to win this competition. But on night number 1, I'm going to have to go for Nathan Aspinall. I think he came out quite recently, said he was going to go back to his old darts, which certainly did him very, very well over the last few years indeed. And I think unless Glen Durrant can get a run of form going, it's going to be really, really hard for him to hold his title, and really, really hard to even make the top 4 at the end of this tournament. But I'm going to go game number 1, Nathan Aspinall 7, Glen Durrant 5. What are you going for? Tell us in the chat below.
Well, there we go. That's my prediction for the night. I'm not going to lie, I can't remember what I predicted. But I did get my bottle of gin out. I haven't got a bottle of gin tonight. We've got cans instead. But let's get underway with this first match of the evening, as Michal is in the chat. Hope you're all good, my friend. Welcome along to the stream. We're underway. Night number 1, Nathan Aspinall, Glen Durrant. This is a repeat, of course, of the Premier League final, which took place only a few months ago. And look, for me, I think both players right now are in horrible, horrible form. Glen Durrant a little bit more than Nathan Aspinall. I think COVID will have affected them slightly with the whole fact that there's no crowds and stuff. But these players are used to having no crowds. As I think we should have a good game on our hands. As I said, I can't remember what I predicted in the end for the scorelines for these. I recorded them not too long ago. Not today, that was for sure, because I didn't know Gerwyn Price wouldn't be here. But look, this should be an interesting game. I think, based on my prediction now, going into the day, I think Aspinall's going to win it, which I'm pretty sure. I think I said he was going to win it 7-5. This is the tournament where players will use this to get into form. You know, we've not had many big events so far in the year where players are consistently playing for days on days and getting motivation to get a good run of form going. We've had the PDC Super Series, but, you know, that was only on for 3-4 days at a time before we get a big break. And in terms of what you'd have as big matches or, you know, big tournaments, we've had the Ladbrokes Masters, which was at the start of the year, you know, back in February. And then we also had the UK Open, which was only about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So overall, not really been much of a real confidence booster for both of these players. But Aspinall down to 108 here. Durant down to 271. Daz has asked who the referee is for this game. I believe the referee for this match is Mr. I think it's George Noble for this one, Daz. So George Noble's the referee, as Aspinall has a chance here to get double 16, which he doesn't hit, and he will have to come back to double 8. What I will say as well, my stream will be a little bit behind the actual live score, so apologies if I'm a little bit behind in that respect, but this is a place to sit back and relax, but there's a lot of content to come as we get the first leg on the board of this Premier League. It's going to go to Nathan Aspinall with the double 8, and that is 1-0 to the Asp, who, look, I think will get a really good run of confidence going in the Premier League. I personally think he will be maybe up there, not to make the top 4, but I would probably say he will be fighting for it for a large stage of this season. You know, he's gone back to his old darts. As he's hit the first 180 of this tournament, he's gone back to his old darts, which is something I think he should have done quite a while ago. We saw him struggle with his new darts that he was playing with quite heavily on the floor tournaments, got knocked out in a lot of those really, really early on. And he's got a chance here maybe to smack in 2 180s back-to-back, which he won't do, unfortunately. And no doubt over the next 17 nights, I'm hoping we can maybe see at least one 9-darter on the board. But we're not going to get it in this second leg of the first match. And we've got 5 nights of action to come. So a lot of content. But what I'm going to do very quickly, 2 seconds, is I am just going to put on in the background a little bit of some background music. Just so when I'm a little bit quiet, the gap has been filled. Apologies if it's too loud. Do tell me if it is in the chat. But got a chance here maybe for Aspinall to go 2-0 up in this game. He's currently at 124. Glen Durrant back at 286. He's going to get himself 83 to leave himself down at 203. So 6 starts in hand here for Aspinall. And a chance to maybe make it 2-0. Going to get the treble 14. Needs double 8 for a 2-0 lead. And that's a brilliant 1-2-4 checkout from Nathan Aspinall. And that is the perfect start to this match for the Asp, who, look, will you definitely use this as a confidence booster. He's going to have some tough games to come against the likes of Peter Wright and Michael van Gerwen. But, you know, being first up on the stage, you're going to be under some pressure to go out there and mark, you know, put your name down. And that's exactly what the Asp has done in these first few legs. And for Glen Durrant, who the bookies have predicted to finish quite low down, in fact, could be the first Premier League champion to be relegated, which would be quite interesting, finds himself 2-0 down, as I believe Aspinall is currently averaging around about the 100 mark. MP Smith has asked no live stream action. The only reason why I can't stream it, MP, is because of copyright issues, unfortunately. That's why I've put in the chat it's a live watch along, so people know that we can't stream the game, sadly, because of copyright issues. If I could, I would. Happily would. Would be great if I was able to, but unfortunately for now, Sky would probably take this channel down very quickly, as Nathan Aspinall smacks in 138 to get himself down to 220. Glen Durrant at 303. And looking at the prediction in the chat, do put your predictions in terms of what you think the table's going to look like. Chris thinks that Wright is going to win the league. MVG comes second. Gary Anderson third. James Wade in 4th, Vandenberg 5th, Clayton 6th, Aspinall 7th, De Sousa 8th, Durant and Cross to both get relegated. But, I mean, this is a really, really poor start, isn't it, for Glen Durrant? Finds himself at 204. Got a chance here, maybe, though, to get a leg on the board as he smacks in 135 to leave himself down at 69. Stephen in the chat, we all good, but he says Glen Durrant seems to be completely lost at the moment form-wise. It's awful, isn't it? You know, when we covered his performances in the World Darts Championship, he never really turned up then, did he? He had an awful game against Diogo Portela. And I don't know what it is, but ever since he's won the Premier League, his form has gone terribly out the window as he's got a chance here. A double 16, which he doesn't hit. And with Aspinall down at 72, a chance to maybe make it 3-0 on legs. Remember, he's first to 7, but could also end 6-6 as a draw. So not the longest of games in the Premier League, which isn't too bad, I guess, but it could be a fairly quickly game. Unless Durant hits this double 8 to make it 2-1. Which he does. And that is what the Premier League champion needed. Get that leg on the board. Relieve the pressure early on here, because I mean, you can see Nathan Aspinall's reaction if you're watching on the little roll of the eyes there from the Asp. You want to get yourself that comfortable 2-3 leg lead, which Aspinall had a chance to do there, but that might give Durant a little bit of confidence here. 2-1 as it stands. Chris saying Durant used to be hard to beat, but he's not now recently. Well, that's the thing. I really don't know what it is and what shot his confidence. You know, I said earlier on in the stream, is it COVID? And the fact that all these players can do is either practice at home, or some of them maybe aren't practicing as much because they're sick of seeing the dartboard, which is mad to say, but you know, you don't want to sit there and practice 24/7 when you're at home, do you? And I mean, as Stevens put, maybe COVID has had more of an effect than what we thought, and you're not wrong. Maybe it is a case of that. And I know Durant, I think, didn't he say the World Championship? I think he said if he was to win it, he was thinking about retiring, and then he didn't, of course, and he continued on. I know he probably meant it in a fairly jokey manner, but is it a case of Durant maybe not wanting or having the drive as such with darts, maybe because he's won something fairly big? I think he does. It'd be maybe a little bit silly to say he hasn't got drive for darts, but as Stephen said, COVID is going to affect everyone. And I think he's affected Durant very heavily. But I always get asked on stream, what we drinking? You know, we've got Bergh, but I found these little gin cans now. Mixed fruit gin and lemonade. So we've spiced it up a little bit. And we're going to crack open the first can of the night. It becomes a regular on these streams. Drinking and darts. I'm not going to lie. I am doing this for a university placement as well, so to whoever is watching this video, hope you enjoy it. The way it usually works in here is we crack open a can. I am of legal age, don't worry, I do look about 12, but I am of legal age. I can get my ID out if I need to, but we have a few drinks on stream, we sit back, relax, we have all the good darts talk. While the game's going on, I'll do a little bit of commentary, keep you guys up to date for those of you that can't watch it. And we have a good time, and that's what we're going to have for the next 5 nights. Starting off with this bank holiday Monday, but chance here may be for Aspinall to take a 3-1 lead. Durant currently at 170 and not able to check out. He'll get himself down to 74, so double 15 for a 3-1 lead, which would be really good here for Nathan Aspinall, and that's what he'll get, a 3-1 lead on the board. And this is where, as we get later on into this match, the pressure is going to start to build on Durant. You know, he can't sit there and afford to drop many more legs in this game, or you would expect Nathan Aspinall to pick up, you know, 2 or 3 more legs at least and eventually win this maybe 7-2, 7-3. Chris has asked, he's not asked in the chat, but Peter's in the stream, good buddy, says Nathan Aspinall is great. He's expecting a win, which right now I think he's really on course for it. For me, doesn't Durant look a bit flat in this game? Not being the greatest of darts in the world. But Chris has put Durant will be back to his best at some point. It's a matter of when happens to every darts player. And look, yeah, I guess you're right. You know, every darts player does have a little blip here and there. I think we've seen MVG in a blip, which he's having right now, and I think he'll get over that eventually. But it's just awful for him right now. He doesn't seem to be able to get anything going at all, which is a shame because he's a great player, Durant. A very, very good player, but for me, Nathan Aspinall, he's looking like he's going to win this. But Stevens asked in the chat, reactions to Phil Taylor coming back? Just another money spinner while the exhibition circuit is down? Yeah, I mean, I looked at the news and I'm not going to lie, he's quite a young darts fan, I guess you could say. You know, there's little experiences of watching Phil Taylor at the back end of his career before he retired, and it'd be nice to see him again in darts. But I think, as you said, look, it's one of those where it is a little bit of a novelty for him to come back. I think he could still do it against some of the very best, but it's a tough one. The World Senior Darts Championship, I think that's what they're calling it, the new event that they're looking to make up. I like that idea. I think that is a fantastic addition, as there's a chance here maybe for a 1-2-2 checkout, which Aspinall's going to have one dart at the bull here for a 4-1 lead. This would be brilliant as he hits the outer bull, and that would have been quite the chance to have another, well, that would have been another, second one, isn't it? Ton plus checkout of the match for the Asp. But he doesn't get it. But I like the idea of the Senior World Darts Championship. I think that'd be great. But look, remember Van Barneveld coming back? He won that Super Series, didn't he, within the first week of returning after getting his tour card. That was great, but there'll be some people who'll be happy about him, some people that'll be sad. I'm kind of sitting on the fence, if I'm being honest with you, without saying it's bad or good. I'm kind of like, I'd love to see him back, but at the same time, is it, as you said, Stephen, a little bit of a money spinner? I think he's a bit of both, to be honest. Maybe a bit of boredom from Phil Taylor being sat at home, as Durant has a chance here for the first 180 of his game, which he gets. And let's get that 180 on for the night. Here we go, there we go. And that is the second 180 of the game, but there might be a chance here for Aspen to get an 180 of his own, which he does. And both players with back-to-back 180s on the board. And look, we'd like a few 9 darters tonight. Well, not tonight, sorry, over the tournament. That'd be lovely, but Durant going to get himself down to 181 here. Nathan Aspinall isn't going to have a 9 darter chance of his own. But I think he's on course here to hit 100, which he does. So Aspie down to 221, Durant at 181. Maybe a chance here for Glen Durrant to make it 4-2 in this match and make it a little bit more interesting as the game continues on. But Chris has put, what is even the point in announcing retirement in first place? I don't get it. Taylor and Barney now in the past. Let's move on from them. I think the thing is these days in sports, when players retire, as Aspie smacks in another 180, and he's on course to make it 5-1. He's got to smack in the 86 now, Durant. Have you got a George Noble one? Oh shit, I clicked the wrong one. I have. Was I clicking Paul Hinks? My bad. I have got George Noble. But there's a chance here for Glen Durrant to check out the 86 on double 16. Oh, and he does. Class from Glen Durrant. 4-2 now in this game. And Nathan Aspinall will be finding himself in a little bit of a struggle here as this game continues on. You know, every time Aspie's picking up 1 or 2 legs, Durant seems to be slowly behind him, and he'll be hoping, Aspie, that he can pick a few more legs up here, because he can do it, Glenn. There's a reason why he was the Premier League champion. It's going to take some work for him to get back into this one, that's for sure. But going back to what I was saying earlier, I think in this day with sports, the whole concept of retirement is no longer a thing. You know, we've seen it in football in the past. I think Ian Robben is probably a good example of a player that retired in football and then came back only after a couple of months. It's the natural, isn't it, these days? Not just in darts, it's in football, in tennis. Players tend to retire and say that they've moved on, but then come back. I think, you know, as sportsmen, sportswomen, you will always have a drive and a passion for the game, and sometimes that passion will not go away. And I think we've seen it in the past. Some players come back from retirement and it ruins legacies and things like that. And you look and you think, should have they, you know, stayed retired? Yes, I think, and maybe in the future. For me, I think RVB could be one of those examples of maybe you should have just stayed retired rather than coming back. With Barney, I think that's going to be the case for him. For Taylor, I don't know. It's a tough one to call. He probably hasn't played much darts recently. Not really had any events, you know, like the senior events and stuff to go to play himself. So I think it's one of those where the world of sports is changing. The whole idea of retirement is not as much of a thing anymore. If once you retire, that's it, you never come back. I think it's evolving, isn't it, really? It's probably the best way to put it. But a chance here for Glen Durrant to check out 76. Treble 20, double 8 for 4-3. He hits treble 5, which means he'll have to go down to treble 11. Doesn't hit it, so he's got one dart at the bull, and he hits the outer ball, and you feel like that was a real chance in the game for Glen Durrant maybe to come back. And now Asp with a chance at the double 10 to make it 5-2, and it's put into the top right-hand corner of the double 10 bed, and Aspinall finds himself just one leg away from a point on the board, 2 legs away from a nice opening day victory in the Unibet Premier League, and it'd be a very good start indeed. We spoke earlier about the fact that, look, these players will be wanting to get a nice run of confidence and form going within the first 5 days of this tournament, and Aspie will be looking to do exactly that, with about maybe 2 or 3 legs left of this game, depending on what Durant can do. And it'd be very disappointing indeed for Durant if he doesn't get anything in the next leg or two. He's already got to get 4 legs back minimum without Aspinall responding. But Reese is in the building. How are you doing, my friend? Get the darts in. We've got 5 days of non-stop darts to come. I've been waiting for this for a long time. As any darts fan will know, it's always a painful wait, isn't it? When you have to sit about for 3-4 weeks with no real TV action, I guess. You know, there'll be a lot of people who watch the floor events and such, but we've not really had many of them, have we, either? But Daz has asked who's the best tops finisher. I think... Oh, well, there's your 180. Get George Noble going, because that's 180 number 5 of this game, and there was a roar of passion from Asp, which is something I think we'll see quite often in this Premier League. But for me, some of the best top finishers, Gerwyn Price, I think he's upped his game quite a lot recently with the top finishers. James Wade, just one of the best finishers in darts, isn't it, if we're being honest with you. But there's a swagger now about Aspinall, and that was a very classy 180 just a few moments ago. So Aspie down to 92. Durant at 164. He's not going to be able to check it out. And a chance here for Aspinall to maybe guarantee himself a point in our first Premier League match of the night. Treble 20 needed, which he'll hit the 20. So he could go double 18, which he'll go for. Gets one of them, gets the other. And there is a point on the board for the Asp, who goes 6-2 with a bit of showboating there from a man who... well, has not been in much confidence recently, but that there will give him some confidence, that's for sure. And that is a point guaranteed for Nathan Aspinall. He's only got one more leg now to guarantee the first win of the Unibet Premier League of Darts on night number 1. But I'm doing very good, Reese. Hopefully you're doing all good as well. Of course, it's Bank Holiday Monday, isn't it, in the UK? So I'm guessing a lot of you guys are probably off work, having a few drinks, as we do in the UK when the sun comes out. So point on the board for Asp, and he will not want to leave with just a point now at this stage when he's already 4 legs up on Duzza. And I mean, 4 on the bounce here needed for Duzza to get anything in this game is probably not going to happen. And I think there'll be a little bit of frustration from Duzza tonight. But I think Daz asked me in the chat earlier, have you got any bets on? I have, actually. I've got some bets on today for the darts. I wouldn't advise matching me up. I wouldn't say I'm exactly a darts betting connoisseur. But I did put down Nathan Aspinall to win in this game. I put Jose de Sousa to win, Peter Wright to win, and MVG to win. That returned a little bit. And then I also put down another bet which is going horribly wrong. It was a Sky Bet special, and it's already pretty much dead. Unless Durant gets 4 on the bounce here. Does put work in tomorrow afternoon, early. Me, Josh. Well, I had a nice week's break. Of course, it's been a week I've had off on the channel. Not often I get to say that these days with everything that's going on in the sporting world at the very least. But it was nice to just chill out, not do anything. As Durant's down to 90 here, and a chance maybe to make it 6-3 to keep this match alive. Here's the 20. Needs the treble 20, which he gets. One dart at double 5 for 6-3. And he gets it. And that is brilliant from Glen Durrant. And a nod of approval from the Asp as Glen Durrant keeps his dreams, potentially, of getting something in this game alive for the time being. And as I said, good nod of approval, even not good knowledge, good nod of approval from the Asp there for what was a really good finish from Glen Durrant. But, you know, we spoke earlier, he's second, or predicted second bottom of this league. It's going to be tough for Glen Durrant to get himself into form when he plays the likes of MVG and Peter Wright. But I'm not going to say it's a tie one, this one, but Ash just needs to watch out. Well, they're saying that Glen Durrant has only just hit 21 and he's down to 381. And I mean, it's not what you want, is it, if you're Glen Durrant right now? But there's a chance here, maybe, for 177 from Aspinall, which he gets, so he's down to 279. Durant at 381 here. And I think, unless Duzza can maybe get a few trebles on the board, I think Aspinall will be picking up the first points of this tournament in the first match. Dad's saying big game for MVG tomorrow, Josh. Massive game, isn't it? I mean, we've got some big games tonight. I was really disappointed it wasn't Price v Anderson. You know, that would have been great to have had the World Championship final repeated. But, I mean, as I said before, having James Wade in this tournament is not a bad thing. Really looking forward to seeing how he does, because I think if James Wade can get on form, he could easily be up there to win this. Easily be up there to win this. And I'm really excited to see how he does as Aspie looks to smack in another 180. And does! And there's another one. And he's now on 6 for the match between these two players. And he's now on course to win this game 7-3. And Glen Durrant here might be able to smack in a 7th of the game. And doesn't. A 140 will do. So 42 needed here. 10-16 for the first win of this Premier League. And 2 darts is all that's needed for Nathan Aspinall, who finishes the first game in classy style. 7-3 win over the Premier League champion Glen Durrant, who comes out of the first game of this tournament with disappointment. And look, it's always going to be a tough one for Glen Durrant to go out there and get something in this competition, and he comes out of the first game with nothing on the board. It was a really, really good result in the end for Aspinall, who certainly had a bit of swagger about him as this game continued on. I mean, the 2 double-18 finishes earlier on in the match were quite spectacular indeed. But as for Glen Durrant, there's a lot of work to do. He's got some tough games coming up, and the next game of the evening coming up is going to be quite an interesting one. We've got Rob Cross, who's been out of form, coming up against Mr. Jose de Sousa, the special one. The question is, will that be a corker, or is it going to be a tasty, tight affair? We'll be back with that in a moment. But for those of you that may be new to the channel, you haven't seen some of the content that we do on here, here's a look at what's to come over the next week on the channel, because it's an absolute corker of a week to come. Take a look at this. For the first time on the Sports Corner, we're going to be doing multi-stream watch-alongs, which means there'll be a few streams available at the same time as each other live on the Sports Corner for the first time. If you're a darts fan, then of course stick around with us for the Premier League of Darts, which is available every single night from around about 7 o'clock over the next week. But if you're a fan of football and you'd rather watch the Champions or Europa League, we'll have other streams available on our channel across the week dedicated to those two tournaments in football. So let's take a look at what's to come on the Sports Corner over the next few days. Don't forget the Premier League of Darts Night 2 will be live tomorrow from 7:10. You can join me for all of that. Then on Tuesday, you can also join the likes of Rowan and the Sports Corner team as Manchester City take on Dortmund and Real Madrid take on Liverpool in the UEFA Champions League. Their watch-along is live from 10 to 8. On Wednesday, Premier League of Darts Night 3 alongside the other Champions League fixtures, including Bayern Munich, PSG and Porto, Chelsea. And then on Thursday night, don't forget, the Europa League live quarter-final goal show is live from 10 to 8 on the Sports Corner. I mean, talk about a big week. It is a massive week of sport. Of course, we had the international break, which was certainly nice to have a little bit of a break from football. But my lord, what a week of action we've got to bring you on the Sports Corner. As I said a moment ago, for the first time on the channel, We're going to be trying it out tomorrow. We are going to be doing multi-streams on YouTube. So what that basically means is we will have 2 streams going at once for the first time on the channel. It's something we've been looking to do for a few months, covering different sporting events going on at the same time. And that will be the first event tomorrow, the Champions League, of course. Getting into that quarter-final stage, 2 brilliant, brilliant games indeed. Real Madrid-Liverpool is one of them, alongside Man City-Dortmund. So if you want to watch that tomorrow, we'll have that live on the channel. That'll be from around about 10 to 8. And then we'll also have myself live. I'll be on a little bit earlier, of course, all the action starting at around about 5 to 10 past 7 for the Premier League of Darts. So you'll have 2 options of what you want to watch. You might even want to jump in and out of both streams if you feel like it. But for those of you wondering, tomorrow it will be Rowan and Will who will be covering the Champions League. And then same again on Wednesday, we'll have both the Kierans, KL and KD, covering the other 2 games. That's Bayern Munich, PSG, and then FC Porto, Chelsea. And then, of course, I'll be covering the Premier League of Darts throughout the entirety of the week. So lots of content to come, lots of action, and no doubt, as we said, we want to give you guys the opportunity to pick which content you want to watch. So if you want to jump in and out of the streams, see what's going on in the Champions League, and then come back in here, then you'll be able to do that from tomorrow night, from around about 7 PM UK time for this, and then 8 PM UK time for the Champions League. But that's all of the content for now, in terms of what's to come up on the channel. What about what's to come up over the next few weeks? Maybe you've not looked at the action and how that the Premier League is going to pan out, because it's very different to how it usually would be. You know, back in the day, it would be a case of just having these games going on a Thursday night every week. We've not got that. We have had a complete change of and an overhaul, I guess, because of COVID-19. So this is how the event is going to run out overall over the next few weeks. We're covering every single night of the Premier League of Darts on the Sports Corner. So don't you worry. We've got you covered on here. So first of all, nights 1 to 5, that's starting tonight, of course. We've got it from this evening. That will be up till Friday, the 9th of April. So we'll have darts every single night. That's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, which will be certainly good indeed. There'll then be a 10-day break. Very, very quick break indeed, this one. And then we'll have nights 6 to 8, which are just standard nights as they were before. Usual competition going on with the games going up to 12 legs. However, when we come to the 22nd of April, that is a Thursday night. That is right after night number 8. We'll have what's called Judgment Night. If you've never watched the Premier League of Darts before, Judgment Night will see 2 players relegated from the tournament. Massive, massive night of action that will be. So Judgment Night could already be decided, actually, before we even made it to that point. But we will have 2 players definitely relegated, and they will leave the competition after the 22nd of April. Once we finish Judgment Night, there'll be just under, I think, a 2-week break, and then we'll be back in May time. That's Wednesday 5th to Friday 7th of May. That's 3 very short nights indeed, for nights 10 to 12. There'll then be a 2-week break for nights 13 to 16. They'll come up from Monday the 24th to Thursday the 27th of May. And then, of course, the night we'll all be looking forward to, that is playoff night indeed. The semi-final and the final will take place on Friday the 28th of May. And that will be when the competition finishes up, and we'll have our winner for the Premier League of Darts this year. Now, if you're wondering, maybe you're somebody who is thinking, can I go to these events? Is it going to be a case of being allowed to go? In terms of the matches between night 1 to night number, I think, 13, there will be no fans in Milton Keynes, of course, because of COVID in the UK, which is a shame. It's going to be behind closed doors for now. However, I believe the PDC might be looking towards getting fans back for nights 13 onwards. So the last week of the Premier League of Darts, I think they'll be looking to get the fans back in, which would be very nice indeed. So hopefully we can look forward to that, because that would be very exciting to have fans back for the darts. We've not had that since, of course, the first night of action at the World Darts Championship back in December. So a long, long time since the fans have been able to physically go and watch a game. But if not, then I would assume the next time we'll see fans in a venue watching matches
will probably be the World Match Play in July at Blackpool, which I'm thinking of going to myself. So there might not be watch-alongs for the Blackpool event because I might be there for the whole week instead. But that's our first game of the night done, as you can see on the right-hand side of the screen if you missed it. Nathan Aspinall getting the first win on the board of the evening, a 7-3 victory over quite a rusty-looking Glen Durrant. Not really looked good at all, I have to admit, but no doubt we'll see a little bit more of Glen Durrant and maybe his form develop as this tournament goes on. But looking at the chat team, what you guys have been saying, if you've got any thoughts, any questions that you want to send throughout tonight's show, then please do. The more, the merrier. It makes my life so much easier. But Chris, you've put tomorrow going to be mad for me. Carlisle and Liverpool playing at the same time, and the darts as well. Going to have a lot of things on at once. I hope you've got enough screens to be able to watch all of those. I think you'll have one on your phone, one on your tablet, one on your laptop, no doubt. Ben's put, I will have the Premier League darts on here tomorrow night on my computer. You'll love to see it. Go on, Ben. And then P is in the building. Hope you're all good, buddies. But when is the next podcast? We'll probably do the next podcast when the first little bit of action from the Premier League of Darts has finished on Friday. I didn't do an episode this week because, to be honest, it was just nice to have a bit of a break. The weather was nice in the UK, so it was all right to just put the feet up and have a bit of a break. But we'll have another podcast, no doubt. And we'll have Chris back as well for that when this first section of the Premier League of Darts has finished. And then Daz has also put, Osty's in the building. How are you doing, Osty? Hope you're all good. Good to see you in the stream, buddy. He's put evening and all. How are you, mate? I do very, very good indeed. Hope you're all good, Osty, as well. And then Chris has put, should boost Aspinall this win, which I would completely agree with you. I think that is a massive, massive confidence booster for a player who's been out of form. And talk about players who've been out of form. That man there, Mr. Rob Cross. Currently ranked 5th in the world. One of the players I think a lot of people were thinking, how the hell has he made it here? But he's made it based on the fact he was ranked 4th in the world at the point of when the Premier League was announced. Look, Rob Cross is not a favourite. Rob Cross is probably the lowest ranked player in terms of the likelihood of going through. I think everybody's expecting him to finish bottom. Everyone is expecting him to get relegated. And you can understand why. Not been his greatest year in the world, has it? In fact, it's not been a really good year and a half for him. I think it's going to be an interesting game, this one. Preferably, if you're one of the middle tier players like an Aspinall or a Rob Cross, you want to come up against one of the debutants who haven't been here before. They've not got the Premier League experience, although let's be honest, that's absolute bollocks. Doesn't really matter, does it? There's no such thing, in my opinion, as Premier League experience. It's a case of just getting onto the dartboard and going out there and smashing your opponent. Doesn't matter if you've played in it or not. It's all about how you are as a player. But I think Jose de Sousa, we know he miscounts quite often. He's got an awful tendency of doing it. Is he going to come out of this game with a victory? I've got a feeling he might. I don't know. But what I can say, which I'll take that off the screen for a second. I nearly put it up for you. Don't want to give that away too early. What I can say is, as I'm going to do throughout the entirety of the streams over the Premier League of Darts, as I've said before, I am doing this stream for my uni placement. I'm quite lucky enough to be in this situation to be able to do it, so thank you very much for the uni for allowing me to do this. But basically what it means is that I'm trying to make it a little bit more professional, a little bit more silky for you guys. And what I'm going to be doing throughout the tournament is I am going to be doing my match predictions. So I recorded my predictions for the tournament a few days ago before it even started. Hence why when I woke up this morning, I was quite very peed off at the fact that all my predictions for Gerwyn Price have now gone out of the window because he's not actually here to be able to play. But I have got a prediction for Rob Cross versus Jose de Sousa, which I will put up in just a moment's time. But Chris has put in the chat, Rob Cross is defending £183,750 prize money after July 31st. He could be as low as number 18 in the PDC rankings. That proves that, you know, if Rob Cross is going to have to do something here, he's going to have to finish minimum second, if not win this competition to defend all that cash. It's going to be a tough one for him, isn't it? And then Sammy's in the building as well. Hope you're all good, buddy. Welcome to the stream. But let's have a quick look at the form, because I think that's something that I've talked about quite a lot at the beginning of this stream. A lot of players coming into this competition on very bad form, I guess, I'd say, in my opinion. Now, ignore Gerwyn Price. This was made before Gerwyn Price was actually not confirmed to be in the tournament. If you look across the board here, Johnny Clayton, by far the best player in the world in terms of current form over the last few months. I think personally he's been the most informed player of 2021 by a country mile. It would have been Gerwyn Price in second, MVG in third, which I think is an interesting shout, and then at the bottom, of course, Glen Durrant and Nathan Aspinall. But looking at Rob Cross, 94.61 average so far in 2021 at the Super Series, 19 matches played, average checkout of 47, which is actually the second lowest of any player on the board. But before we go into this game, put your score predictions in the chat. Who do you think is going to win between Rob Cross and Jose de Sousa? This is the prediction that I made for the game a few days ago. So let's now move on to game number 2 of the night. We'll have just seen Nathan Aspinall up against Glen Durrant. I'm recording this before these games have even happened, so I can't tell you who won, but I would assume probably, let's take a guess, Nathan Aspinall won 7-5 as predicted. But let's move on to the next game of the night. Rob Cross against Jose de Sousa. Now, we spoke about it earlier on stream, no doubt. Jose de Sousa coming into this competition for the first time in his career, which is fantastic to see, considering how well he's played over the last few months. But he's coming up against the world number 4, Rob Cross, who we spoke about 2 players in bad form earlier. Rob Cross has got a lot of work to do. He's got to certainly keep up with the order of merit and the amount of money that he makes in the next few months, considering that World Championship win will be coming off the books very, very soon. So I think this is going to be a tough game for both players. Rob Cross in the last few months on the floor tournaments not been doing too bad, actually. Not really seen much of Jose de Sousa to be able to say how he's done since the start of the year. I know, of course, he did all right at the Ladbrokes Masters, but I'm going to go for a 6-6 draw on this one. I think this will be the first game of the tournament that ends in a draw. Rob Cross looking quite good in the last few months. Jose de Sousa don't really know much about how he's done, but I think this will end 6-6. A draw, not a bad way to start for both players in this tournament, considering I think both of these will be looking down at the lower end of the table rather than the higher end.
Now, I'm not going to lie, as I said, I don't remember what I predicted, if I'm being honest with you. Probably should have wrote them down, but that's my prediction anyway. What I made before the tournament. Do tell me in the chat what you think this game is going to end. Of course, could end in a 6-6 draw, could end with one of these players winning. Rob Cross, of course, was actually relegated last season in the tournament. When I mean relegated, just kicked out, of course, lost on Judgment Night, which was a real shame for him. And for a man who has the tune hot, 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 not right now for Rob Cross at all. It's been quite an awful year for him, and as Chris has actually said in the chat, I completely forgot, it's not even a ranked event, is it? So the money that Rob Cross wins will not even help him in terms of the PDC Order of Merit, which is a real shame for him because he needs every last penny he can get right now. But Jose de Sousa coming into this tournament for the first time, it's his debut. Look, I said it before, I personally think that the whole fact of it being a debut, I don't think you need that experience, in my opinion, to go out there and win these games. It's all about what you do on the day, on the hockey, to whether you're going to be able to go out there and get something. Is there going to be nerves for Jose? Maybe. It's a tough competition. There are a lot of really big players in this tournament that are going to be hard to play against, and who knows where the debutants are going to finish. We'll talk about those a little bit later on, of course. I've got another video to talk about those. But we're going to get underway with the game. Rob Cross is going to be under some real pressure to go out there in this tournament and not get demoted on Judgment Night again. As for this game, I believe our referee is Mr. I think it's Paul Hinks for this game. No, it's not. It's Russ Bray, in fact. So Russ Bray, the referee for this game. As we get underway, Daz has put, have you got your Russ Bray voice ready? I would, but I don't want to embarrass myself on stream as we get the first 180 of the night. And it goes to Mr. Rob Cross, who I don't think necessarily this year has done too bad so far. I think, as I said, you come into this tournament, he will be the outright probably favourite to finish in the bottom 2, which is fairly understandable because he didn't do too well. But I think he could win this game. I'm not going to lie. I don't know if I said earlier in my prediction whether he was going to win or not, or whether I said a draw. But like looking at it now, from my perspective, I think he could win this game on the first night. And looking at what you guys have been saying in the stream, Chris says he thinks he's going to be cross 6, D'Souza 6, but won't be shocked if D'Souza wins. Daz saying 7-5 D'Souza. Ben Lawson saying 7-5 cross. A real mixture of predictions in the chat as there's a chance here for a bull finish for Rob Cross for the first leg on the board. What's he going to do here? He gets the bull. And that's a brilliant 82 checkout from Rob Cross to start the game. And I think he's going to win this. I've got a feeling for Rob Cross. Now, I'm not going to lie, on my bet tonight on Sky, I did actually put Jose D'Souza to win. So, technically, I'm actually going against what I predicted on Sky Bet. But, I don't know, going into it, this has to be a big year for Rob Cross. And I know there's a lot of people saying, you know, with MVG, for example, with him out of form, I think there's a lot of people saying, you know, MVG has to go out there and dominate this tournament. I think Rob Cross has to go out there and really give it his all. These first 5 matches over the next week are going to be detrimental to how these players start. By Friday, some of these players are either going to be sat in a position of worry, or they're going to be sat in a position of being really happy with how they've started, as Rob Cross here, looking for a second 180, but he'll get a 140 instead. I mean, Chris has made a very fair point. No pressure on debutants, D'Souza, Clayton and Van den Bergh. No crowd. They can relax. Look at last year, Aspinall and Durant, where debutants both reached the final, which is very, very true indeed. And I don't think that's going to happen this year. I think, for me, Clayton's probably the more likelier to make it there. Maybe even Dimitri van den Bergh. If I had to tier it, I'd probably say D'Souza's the least likely of the 3, but you just never know with him. He's called the special one for a reason. Is he going to be a special one in this tournament? We'll have to find out. But Emma Lindsay's in the stream. And Joshua as well. How are you doing? Hope you're all good. Welcome along to the stream tonight. Don't forget, if you have enjoyed it, I am going to be covering the Premier League of Darts throughout the entirety of the tournament. So please do leave a like and subscription if you have enjoyed it so far, because I will be back tomorrow night from around about 7:10 for the action. But Jose D'Souza here. Chance to make it 1-1. Treble 20, double 6 needed. First dart actually misses on the board. I think he's going down the double 18 route, which means he's going to go for double 18 again. Could do what Nathan Aspinall did earlier on this evening, and he does. And that is a brilliant finish from Jose D'Souza. He's done what the Asp did about half an hour ago. The double 18 finished twice on a 72 to make it 1 leg apiece. And I think Jose D'Souza does tend to make some quirky decisions at times, but good start to this one. Both players starting very, very well indeed on the opening night of action in Milton Keynes, which is what you'd expect from all players in this competition. You want to go out there and put your name down, put a marker down. And we saw Nathan Aspinall do that earlier. Can either of these two do the same? Josh, how is you today? I'm doing very good, buddy. Hope you're all good as well, my friend. Welcome along. Hope you've enjoyed the night of action tonight, because I think I will indeed. As Chris has put Van den Bergh and D'Souza unpredictable for me, which, yeah, I think for me D'Souza's the more unpredictable one in terms of where he'll finish. I feel like for me, Van den Bergh, probably the expectation should be to finish around about the top 5, which won't mean much. You know, you want to finish in the top 4 and go through to the semis, but 2 of those spots you would expect are already going to be taken by Van Gerwen and Peter Wright. You would expect. And I think Van den Bergh has to be looking and thinking, can I sneak my way into it? Although, saying that, he's been on pretty poor form himself, hasn't he? Quite recently. So Rob Cross here at 146. Jose D'Souza back at 267, but he has got 3 extra darts in hand, which he's just taking now, and he'll get 80 to leave himself down at 187. So a really good opportunity here for Rob Cross to take a 2-1 lead. And I feel for me that a win for Rob Cross is more important than a win for D'Souza at this stage. He's got quite a bad history, hasn't he, in the last year, Rob Cross, in this competition. Let's not forget, in 2019, he was the runner-up. 2020 was demoted on Judgment Night. 2021, who knows what's going to happen with Rob Cross, as he's got a chance here to go 2-1 up. 66 checkout on treble 10, double 18. He's actually got a chance here on the double 18. After hitting the treble 10, Rob Cross whacks it in, and that is a 2-1 lead for the world number 5. And it's a very good start here from Rob Cross. Good finishing. I think the one thing that people have been saying over the last kind of year or so, as Rob Cross has slowly fell off the mark, is that there's not been a ruthlessness when it comes to the throw of the darts. You know, sometimes in the past when he was up there and he was the world number, not the world number 1, sorry, when he actually won the World Darts Championship, the ruthlessness for his throw was key to the success. And I think a lot of people are saying he started to kind of lighten the throw at the board, which has been a bit of an issue for him. But so far, so good. And I think Sousa will give him a good scrap tonight. It's going to be a very tricky one indeed. As Josh says, he thinks Wade's going to beat Anderson. Interesting shout. I'm interested to see how Wade does. Not really predominantly known for practicing as such. And he came out, of course, in that interview we watched a little bit earlier on, which he said he hasn't actually practiced at all since the UK Open final. Probably not expecting to be called up to this tournament, but he never really practices anyway. And I'll be interested to see how he does tonight against Gary Anderson, who, look, I love Gary Anderson, one of my favourite players, but I think, you know, even him himself will be saying, I've not had the greatest start to 2021 for a man who has been hyping this as the year of Gary Anderson. So a chance here for a 100 checkout from Sousa, which he won't get, but he will be coming back with Rob Cross back at 207. Chris put Cross, Smith, Gurney, White, Durant, Lewis, Hughes all defending prize money till July 31st. Smith's defending 101 grand. He's currently number 8, could drop to number 17. Jesus Christ, after July 31st. Gurney defending 117 grand. Currently number 10, could drop to number 2022 after July 1st. As it's 2-2 in this game. Good finish there from Jose Sousa on tops. Right in the middle of the bed. And it's all level in this game with both players 100% on the checkouts. That's what you want to see. I would say though, Chris, and obviously I know this isn't a ranked event, but that World Match Play in July could be absolutely critical to a lot of players and how they do in the next big event where a lot of the big players will be playing. Reese asks, what's the deal with defending prize money? So basically the way the PDC Order of Merit works is it's, and Chris will know a little bit more than I do. As I said, I wouldn't say I'm new to darts, but it's quite complex. But the system's based over 2 years with the rankings and the money that you make. So over a 2-year period, the money that Rob Cross makes will affect his ranking. After July 31st, that PDC money that he's got over the 2 years, I think some of it gets wiped, doesn't it, Chris, from that point? So right now, as Chris has put in the chat, basically, Rob Cross has got to defend £183,000 prize money. After July the 31st, if he doesn't get that money, he will drop down in the rankings. And to be fair, he probably won't get the 183 grand anyway. I think it'll be impossible for him, but the money that he gets will help towards his rankings in the Order of Merit. It's all down to the prize money, basically, that the players make. As Reese is in the building. How are we doing, Reese? As Reese says hi to Reese. Reception in the chat right now. Chance here, though, for Sousa with a 164 checkout. Treble 20, treble 18, bull needed. He's going to go down the 19s route, which wasn't the greatest idea in the world, and he will be coming back at a checkout of 107. And then, yeah, Chris has put, some of it will be wiped if Cross doesn't have a good tournament, for example. There you go. So, a lot of the money that Cross made was the World Championship win a few years ago. I think that still counts to it, doesn't it, Chris? But a lot of the money he's got is going to get wiped in July. So, the next big tournament after this, where a lot of those players will be playing that aren't here, is the World Match Play in July. So a lot of those players will be trying to defend prize money there, of course. As Reese said in the chat, obviously, if you don't know, the Premier League isn't a ranked tournament. So the money that they make from this doesn't go to the PDC Order of Merit, which is understandable, or else there'd be some outrage because all these 10 players would just go straight up the rankings while the rest of them can't participate. So that's the way it works. There's a chance here for another tops checkout for De Sousa. Now double 10, which he doesn't get. And a chance here maybe for Rob Cross to go back into the lead on a 52 checkout. 16 double 18 required. He's going to go for tops. And now has a chance at double 18. 2 darts in hand, which he'll step back. Needs to be a ruthlessness with his finishing. That first dart was really wayward of the double 16. And the second dart hits the 16 bed, which means Joseph De Sousa here with a chance at double 5 to take the lead for the first time in this match. A really good opportunity, you have to say, for the special one. So 2 darts left in hand here. And 2 darts is all he needs because that's double 5. And Joseph De Sousa, the special one, finds himself in the lead. Brilliant, brilliant indeed. And then Reeves put the chat across defending. I thought he was, yeah. He's defending his match play win this year. It's not going to be much chance of that, is there? he desperately needs something at the World Match Play, doesn't he? Going to be a nightmare, isn't it, for him? He'll have to win it, pretty much, to find himself in a good enough position. Stevens asked the chat, do you think Cross will win another World Champs? No. I don't think he will. Look, Rob Cross, on his day, when he's in form, is a great player to watch. Really enjoyable. You know, that run he had at the World Championship was unbelievable. And that was the very best of him. Do I think we're going to see that again? Not for some time. I think confidence for him has been quite short. But for me, as I've said before, this is the perfect opportunity to get back some form as he smacks in a 180. And that's another one on the board for Rob Cross, and that's the third 180 of the evening in this game between Rob Cross and Joseph De Sousa. And Rusbury there, no doubt, shouting. Hopefully it's not too loud for you. Thought I'd get the sounds back again. Why not? Adds a bit of an immersive experience, doesn't it, to the stream. But I don't think Rob Cross is going to find himself winning the World Championship. Not for some time, at the very least. You know, when you look at the likes of Gerwyn Price, Peter Wright, Van Gerwen, they're here to stay for some time. And I can see Gerwyn Price winning a few more World Championships with the ruthlessness that he's got. But, I mean, this isn't a good start, is it, for Joseph De Sousa? 55 to leave himself at 202. Rob Cross is going to have 6 darts here to make it 3-all. And a 1-2-8 will leave Cross down at 36. Perfect setup there for the Englishman, who might be about to get himself back in this match at 3-all. And there are a lot of people maybe predicting this game to finish 6-6. And with the way it's panning out, it might go that way. Chris has put White is going to be defending 112 grand. Durant 87. Lewis 51. And Hughes 54. As Rob Cross smacks in the double 18. It's 3-all in this game. And neither player backing down in this second fixture of the evening. It's a really good finish in the double 18 bed, and surely now Rob Cross will be feeling hungry. He's on here for another 180. He'll go for the treble 19, and a 177 will certainly do to leave him maybe with a chance at a 9 darter. We want one. We've never had one on the channel. Although saying that, I have a chance for a 180 here from De Sousa. Gets a 140 instead. And I was saying before, we never had a 9 darter on this channel. We did the World Championships and I wasn't doing the afternoon sessions, so I missed James Wade's 9 darter. Just my luck, isn't it? Just my luck. And after a 177, Cross responds with a 51. And you'd expected De Sousa to capitalise, but 59's not good enough. And I mean, here, there's a really good opportunity if Cross can get a few trebles on the board to take back a lead in this game again. He certainly looked not really comfortable, but a better player on the hockey so far. As Benaldo's in the building. How are we doing, my friend? 180. Hopefully we'll get to see a few more of those tonight. While they're saying that, Joseph De Sousa here, on for a 180, which would put him right back in the balance for this leg. Goes for the outer ball instead. Daniel Vernon, hope you're all good, my friend. He's put, hello there, mate. How are we doing? Hope you're all good. Welcome to the stream. And then Stevens put, Lewis, I think, is going to be really struggling in the coming years. Yeah, I think he will be. Is Lewis doing the No, I'm thinking of Jamie Lewis. Oh, no, Adrian Lewis, that is. Lewis needs something and fast. As there's a chance here for a 157 checkout from Sousa. Doesn't get it in the end. So Rob Cross with a chance on tops to go 4-3 up in this game and take back a lead in this match. Has been so topsy-turvy. Got 2 darts at double 10 here after hitting the 20 in the bed. Now got 1 dart at double 5. Really needs to take this. And does. 4-3. And that'll be a good confidence booster for Rob Cross. And you can see the emotion on the face of Jose Sousa. Maybe a little bit of nerves, a bit of worry in this early stage of this Premier League fixture. Not been the greatest of matches, has it, so far for the special one? It's not been really good at all. And Rob Cross might actually be thinking in his head here, if he can get a few trebles on the board, he might be able to take a 2-leg lead for the first time in the match. As Dimski's in the building. How are we doing, my friend? He's put, hey Josh, how's you? I'm doing fantastic. No need to worry, I'm here now. Hope you're all good. How are we? I'm doing very good myself. I had a nice little week's break. All ready for darting action now for the next week. And then Daz has put Jamie Lewis is in the Modus one this week. He is, isn't he? He is in the Modus one. I mean, the dedication for that Modus one, I don't know if any of you guys have been watching it, but I swear they must be live 24 hours a day. It's unreal. I jump into bed at about 11 o'clock at night, and they're still live. It's crazy. As we have another 180 on the board. Jose Sousa this time, and it's going to be the fourth one of the match. I think it's 2 apiece now. Although here might be a chance for the number 5, and it is. What a response from Cross there. Jose Sousa down to 84. Rob Cross at 162. So 6 starts in hand for the special one. And he'll have time on his side here, Jose Sousa. Had a chance to check out on the ball. Hits the outer bull instead, so we'll be coming back at 25. With Rob Cross at 162. Ben's put, I have it on the TV, and I think Cross looks like his form is better. Yeah, I agree with you. I think Cross looks more confident. Jose Sousa looks really nervous, which is understandable. And maybe it defeats the point of what I said earlier about doesn't really matter if you've not played in this competition before. Should probably eat my words at this stage. But chance here for Rob Cross at the 137. He's going to have to take it. Or else Jose Sousa at double 8 will probably make it 4-4. And he's not going to take it. So 3 darts at double 8 here for Jose Sousa. You'd expect this game to go to 4-4. And for a player who, look, hasn't really... He has hit it, by the way. 4-4 in this game now. For a player who's not really looked good in this match, he's done very well to keep himself in the game. Now, is that a case of Rob Cross just not being good enough? Or is it a case of Jose Sousa maybe just holding on slightly? Fair play to him. As it's 4-4 in this game. But now let's put, there it is. We'll have a few more of those 180s coming out tonight on stream. I like to make my watch-alongs different. You know, I could sit here and just commentate all night in silence, but why not have the 180 sounds? Copyright free as well. We love it. I can actually use them and still have these videos monetized. It's great. As Dimski's put, having a beer on a school night. Bloody hell, look at you go, Dimski. Well, it's a bank holiday in the UK, so I would assume that most people who are watching on the UK, if you are, and you've had the day off work, if you're having a few cheeky beers, gins, lagers, whatever you have these days, then do tell us in the chat what you're drinking tonight, because we're drinking Bergh gin, which is bloody lovely. Tried it a few days ago. Absolutely nice. And don't worry, for those of you wondering, where's the actual gin? The bottle is there. We'll devour that probably in the second section of this tournament in a few weeks' time, but Dinges is in the building. How are you doing, my friend? He's put a hello there. Welcome along. As we have a chance here for 180. And we get it! Jose Sousa. Lovely darts. And is he now starting to get a bit of belief back in this game as we get the 6th 180 of the match? And now the special one is looking to really get a foothold in this game. Tony Walker, he's watching on from New Zealand. Bloody hell, what time is it in New Zealand right now? I'm guessing it's afternoon, I'd assume. But now let's put UK has so many bank holidays, I need to really look at. Honestly, the amount of bank holidays we have, I can't bloody remember when they are. You wake up and you realise it's a bank holiday. It's nuts. We've got so many, it's unreal. But Dad says he's going to be having a Carlin in a bit. Well, I've got 3 cans here. I've got 8 in the fridge. That'll cover me over the next week. Or 2 days. But now I'm on the first can of the night. So De Sousa here with a chance to take the lead for the first time in a while. Double 11 to guarantee a point. Double 11 needed. First dart, decent marker. Second dart is in, and that is a point on the board for Jose De Sousa. And that is brilliant for the special one. Who look, he will be very, very nervous here. Sorry, it's not this one, it's the next one, isn't it? It's the next one he needs a point. It's the next one. My bad. And I know people are going to say it before I continue on, as Chris says he's drinking Ribena. Tony's saying it's 7:20 in the morning. Jesus. It's early. Very, very early indeed. Benaldo, 7:21 in New Zealand right now. M. Doran watching from New Zealand as well. It's 7 a.m. Welcome to all of you, early birds in the morning. Thank you very much for joining us. I guess darts is on quite a weird time for you guys, isn't it? 7 a.m. in the morning. I'm not going to lie, would I like waking up at 7 a.m. in the morning to watch the darts? Yes, because if you're passionate about the sport, then you are just going to watch it anyway, regardless of what time it's on. But I wouldn't be able to drink as such. I'd be sat there with an orange juice in the morning. It's alright here, though, as there's a chance for a 180 for Rob Cross, and he gets it. And that's another one on the night. 7 now in this game, and both players really starting to come out on show. DJ saying he's watching on from Greece. What time is it in Greece, my friend? You'll have to tell me in the chat. And then apparently it's 1-0 to West Ham. Lingard. He can't stop scoring right now, can he? Unbelievable. And then Dimski's put having a Corona. Is that in poor taste? Who cares anymore? Who cares? I'm starting to lose the plot with it all. It's a nightmare, isn't it, with COVID right now. I guess if you're living in Australia or places like that, you're quite lucky. So 4-5 to Jose De Sousa in this game. And there might be a chance here for another 180 for the special one, and there is. Oh, now he's coming out to play. He's down to 67, with 6 darts in hand. To guarantee a point. As Chris has put 7 a.m. watching darts while having full English on McDonald's breakfast. That would be my dream. Yeah, it wouldn't be too bad, I guess. Sitting with a breakfast in the morning watching the darts. So treble 17, double 8 needed. Gets the treble 17, 2 darts at double 8. First dart, really good marker. And second dart hits the 8. So unless Cross checks out the 152 here, you would assume De Sousa will be getting his first point in the Premier League. Oh, they're saying that. Rob Cross gets the treble 20. He needed another one, which he didn't get. But a 140 will leave him down at 12. So there will be some nerves here for De Sousa, who's got to take out the double 4. First dart hits the 4. 2 darts to double 2. And he gets it with his first dart. And Jose De Sousa has guaranteed himself a point in his first Premier League game. And now he finds himself one leg away from maybe getting a victory. Although Rob Cross will now need to get 2 on the bounce to get a point on the board. So really good start from Jose De Sousa. Who, credit to him, you know, early on in the game was looking really, really poor. But he's, as this game has continued on, really got himself into form. At least for this game. And I think he'll be very, very happy indeed if you can get a win on the board. Although saying that, 180 from Rob Cross. And he's not going anywhere yet because he's probably going to get the next leg on the board. And that's the 9th 180 of this match. We're on course for double figures. As Chris has put, I've been playing Knacker Online darts again today too. I've been playing a little bit darts. I've got to say, I feel like I've improved a little bit over the last few weeks. I'm not going to, you know, put my head up my own arse and say I'm an incredible player. I'm not. I'm terrible. But my average has improved. Although saying that, I'm going to have to buy a new dartboard because mine is absolutely ruined. And I don't know why. I think Simon Whitlock's been at my board. It's absolutely ravaged. So I'm going to get a new one soon. But chance here for Rob Cross with a 137 checkout, which he's not going to get. So we'll be coming back with Jose De Sousa back at 257. Although 180 would be quite good indeed. Chris has put, now you can say D'Souza guaranteed a point. I can now. I don't know why. It's because I've got the commentary on. They said for a second, I swear, when he got his 5th leg on the board, they were like, he's got a point. That's why I was confused for the moment. Imagine if it's Russ again next, Josh. I wouldn't mind it. I do like Russ Bray. As Dimsky's put, come on, Cross, time to start playing, and he needs to here, because he's got a chance at double 8 to check out 80, which he doesn't. And with D'Souza at 198, he will be coming back for that double 8, and you would assume here that Rob Cross will be able to get himself back on the board in this leg. He's going to have to get something fairly quickly, because time is running out. Is he going to get it, though? That's the question. And he does. So double 8 on the board, which means it's 6-5 now in this game. Are we going to see a draw, or will Jose D'Souza get himself the victory in the match? Big, big moment in the game here. We're going the distance, which is what you'd expect of a game with two pretty interesting players. As D'Souza starts with 140. Chris saying you must have used Whitlock darts. I must have. I don't know what it is. The thing is, it wasn't even when I was using the board. I know when, like, I'm looking at it now, right? The problem is where I have it, I tend to open the window, sunlight does get on it, which is probably not the best idea in the world. But it was like, when I was using the dartboard, it's on the double 20. There was a little section of the dartboard which had, like, raised up, and you'll know more than I do, Chris, and other people in the chat. There was a little part of the like, dart of the part, I can't bloody speak. Let me try again. Part of the dartboard, that's what I wanted to say. There's a part of the dartboard which just raised up in the double 20 section. That's like raised up over time, and then eventually, obviously, the more I've been using the darts and chucking, it's like ripped. So there's just a little hole in the 20 section. It's strange. It is genuinely Whitlock darts. So Cross here at 268, D'Souza at 302. Special one gets himself 100 to get himself down to 202. Rob Cross here probably going to need to get himself under 170 to put himself in the driving seat for a point. Might even get a 180 here. And he does! And that's brilliant from Rob Cross. Under pressure. Gets himself the 10th 180 of this game. And he might be on course here to get a point in this match. And fair play to him. Treble 20, double 14 needed. As Jose D'Souza gets 60 to leave 142. So a chance here to check out 88 to spoil D'Souza's opening day party. With treble 20, double 14. Gets the 20. Which means he's got treble 18, double 7. He'll go for 18 bull. I mean, this would be quite the way to finish the match. Oh, and he does. That's quality. 88 checkout from Rob Cross. And both players will be going away with a point in their first match of the Premier League of Darts, night number 1. And, well, you've got to probably say a point was deserved for both players in this match. Jose D'Souza in that early stage of the game was not looking confident at all and had a real sloppy section. But as the match continued on, he got himself back into the game and should have probably maybe even gone out there and got the victory. But Rob Cross, who for me looked quite confident at times in this match, eventually found the 2 legs he needed to get a point on the board. And look, at this early stage of the competition, 1 point is not a bad thing to get at all. And Jose D'Souza not beaten in his first game. I think that was a very, very fair result for the first game of the evening. And I'm not going to lie, I think in my prediction, I think I said 6-6. And I know some of you guys said 6-6 in the chat. I'm going down now and finding whoever said that a little bit earlier on. It was Chris. You said 6-6, but won't be shocked if D'Souza wins, and fair play, because I think that was a very good game overall. Both players very well in terms of their form. So we'll talk about that in a little moment's time. But without further ado, as we said, we're going to take a quick little break. If you are new to the stream, don't forget to leave a like and a subscription if you have enjoyed the darts watch-alongs so far, because we've got plenty more content to come on the channel this week. And it's not just the football. It's not just the darts, it's the football as well. Take a look at this. For the first time on the Sports Corner, we're going to be doing multi-stream watch-alongs, which means there'll be a few streams available at the same time as each other live on the Sports Corner for the first time. If you're a darts fan, then of course stick around with us for the Premier League of Darts, which is available every single night from around about 7 o'clock over the next week. But if you're a fan of football and you'd rather watch the Champions or Europa League, we'll have other streams available on our channel across the week dedicated to those two tournaments in football. So let's take a look at what's to come on the Sports Corner over the next few days. Don't forget the Premier League of Darts Night 2 will be live tomorrow from 10 past 7. You can join me for all of that. Then on Tuesday you can also join the likes of Rowan and the Sports Corner team as Manchester City take on Dortmund and Real Madrid take on Liverpool in the UEFA Champions League. Their watch-along is live from 10 to 8. On Wednesday, Premier League of Darts Night 3 alongside the other Champions League fixtures, including Bayern Munich, PSG and Porto, Chelsea. And then on Thursday night, don't forget, the Europa League live quarter-final goal show is live from 10 to 8 on the Sports Corner. So that's a look at some of the content we've got coming up on the channel over the next week. As we said, for the first time on the channel, as I said a little bit earlier on in the stream, we're going to be doing multi-streams. So if we want to do for a few months now, basically what it means, we'll have 2 streams running at the same time on YouTube. So if you are a fan of the darts and you want to stick with me, then I'll be on, of course, at 7 o'clock pretty much every single night over the next 5 nights. And beyond, of course, because this tournament is going on for 2 months. And we'll be, of course, having every single night, won't it be? Every little bit of drama, every bit of passion, every big 9 darter or 180 checkout, whatever there is these days, we will be having on the channel with me. So if you want to stick around, then there's all that stuff here. But also, if you want to watch the Champions League and the Europa League, you want to see the reactions from the other guys on the Sports Corner channel, then you can also jump into their streams, which they'll be running at the same time while I'm live. So tomorrow, it's going to be Rowan and Will. They're going to be covering Manchester City and Dortmund, as well as Real Madrid up against Liverpool. That's the quarter-final of the Champions League. And then we've also got, on Wednesday night, the other 2 games. That's, of course, FC Porto against Chelsea and Bayern Munich against PSG. Thursday night, they're going to do a goal show as well. There'll be 4 of the boys from the Sports Corner team. They'll be live from 8 o'clock for all 4 of the quarter-final first legs. And then, of course, I will be live with the rest of the Premier League of Darts as well. So we're testing that out this week, seeing if it works. If there's a few technical hitches tomorrow night, then I do apologise. I might be sorting a few of those out while we are still live. But as I said, if you want to stick around with the Premier League of Darts, then I'm going to be live every single night over the next week. I am looking forward to it indeed. Daz asked, when's the next tournament, the FIFA one? I'm not going to lie, I had looked to see when the next tournament was going to take place. It might not be for a while, just in terms of busyness, just in terms of being busy, big matches that we're covering on the channel. It's going to be quite hard right now to fill it in with the calendar. So it could be, maybe, at the end of the season when the season is finished. But I'm not going to give a date out yet because, to be honest with you, when I sat down and had a look, I'm not really sure myself when that next tournament's going to be. But once again, big thank you to all of you guys that did play in that tournament. Really, really grateful. And no doubt we'll have a nice big cash prize ready for that next tournament, which we'll do in a few weeks or maybe months' time. But that game a moment ago, Rob Cross up against Jose de Sousa, big result, I think, for both players, to be honest with you. We deserved one in the end, in my opinion. Let's go through the stats for a brief moment and just kind of take a glimpse of how both players did. I'm not going to lie, it would really help if the screen didn't keep moving my stats. So there we go. As you can see on your screen, we'll start off with the average for both players. Rob Cross averaging 96.53. Jose de Sousa averaging 91.66. I think I said before, look, not the greatest of starts in the world, was it, for Jose de Sousa? Didn't really average well. Had a lot of spells early on in the match where I think had Rob Cross been better, he could have taken the game completely away from the special one, and it could have ended, 7-3, 7-4 to Cross. But he didn't. And when you look across the board at the other stats, checkouts-wise, you can see 54% for Rob Cross, which definitely came in handy as the match continued on into the later sections of the game. As for Jose de Sousa, 35.29% was a little bit disappointing, and I think maybe that cost him at certain points. As for 180s, there were 6 for Rob Cross and 4 for Jose de Sousa, with 13 140 pluses from Rob Cross, 12 140 pluses from Jose de Sousa. And I think it was the best result for both players. 6-6 was very, very fair indeed, and I think that is a pretty fine result that
I don't think neither player would be too fussed about, if I'm being honest with you. So, as you can see on your screen, we've already had one game tonight, which took place a little bit earlier on. Nathan Aspinall with a 7-3 win over Glen Durrant. It was quite a good result, I have to say, for Nathan Aspinall in a match where Durant never really turned up. He's been quite out of form, and I guess, as we said earlier on in the stream, maybe COVID has affected him slightly, but that was one of those results where ultimately I think you will be a little bit disappointed if you're a Durant fan, because he's going to have a lot of work to do even after night number 1. And then we saw a moment ago Cross 6, de Sousa 6. A very good result for both players on the board indeed. We're moving on to our next game now of the night, and it's our first chance to watch one of the big 3, although it's down to the big 2 now. Gerwyn Price isn't in the tournament, as Peter Wright takes on Johnny Clayton. And for me, this is the game of the night by a country mile. In terms of if we're basing it off players in form, Johnny Clayton for me has been the best player of 2021 by a country mile. Been absolutely brilliant to watch so far. Incredible at the Ladbrokes Masters, of course a World Cup of Darts winner, which doesn't really mean much in terms of the big tournaments. But in the floor tournaments as well, I think he got 2 or 3 finals in the Super Series over the space of a week. So, you know, when you base it off of that, I think Clayton is well and truly the front runner of the debutants to go on and do well in this competition. But Peter Wright, can't count him out. He has to go out there and put a marker down, especially for Van Gerwen, who is the last match of the night, and say, look, I want the first 2 points of the evening, which I think he certainly will be up there to get. And I don't really know. I could see this ending in a draw, but it all depends on how both players turn out. Let's not forget it is Clayton's Premier League debut, never been in this competition so far. And talking about debutants, I did make a video earlier on where I looked into the 3 debutants of the competition to see how they might do, the competitions that they've won in the past and what they could do on the first night of action. So take a look at this. If you don't really know much about Clayton, de Sousa and Van den Bergh, this might be a very good guide for you for the debutants of this tournament. Take a look at this. With the changes made to this season's Premier League of Darts, the Challenger system has gone out the window. So if you are used to that format, we're now going back to the classic 10-man format of the Premier League of Darts, which has been used over the last few years. And that means we also have some new debutants to the tournament, which includes the following 3 on your screen right now. Let's start from left to right. First of all, we have Johnny Clayton, who arguably is one of the most informed players of 2021 so far. He's the winner of the Ladbrokes Masters, in which he comfortably beat Mervyn King, alongside last season winning the World Cup of Darts with his Welsh teammate Gerwyn Price. And Johnny Clayton, who will no doubt be up there as one of the favourites to do quite well in this competition, finds himself 17th in the PDC Order of Merit. But will he be able to have a stellar season in the Premier League of Darts? For the first time, he's had to go full-time in the job. In the middle of your screen is Jose de Sousa, known as the Special One and ranked 14th in the PDC Order of Merit. Jose de Sousa, he's quite a special one. Brilliant player when it comes to being on the oche. He's got fantastic characteristics and mannerisms when he's on the stage, but he's also had his issues with counting, which could be a problem in this competition. He has won the Boyle Sports Grand Slam, which was certainly a big win for him, and he'll be hoping maybe he could be up there to maybe go on and do quite well in this Premier League, but it's going to be a tough ask for a player who's ranked 14th in the world. As for Dimitri van den Bergh, I think he's a player who's been screaming and shouted by many PDC fans to enter the Premier League of Darts. The Belgian, who is currently ranked 9th in the world, is quite a classy player, and of course he's won competitions himself, including the Betfred World Match Play against Gary Anderson last year. The Belgian will be hoping he can do a good job this season, and no doubt he'll pick a few surprise wins across the board. But there are only 3 debutants to the competition. I wonder, will any of them be up there with the title at the end of the season? So that is a look at the debutants for the, of course, throughout the tournament. 3 very big debutants, let's not forget. Going to be interested to see how they do, of course. Clayton coming up in just a moment's time. I think he will be looking to maybe rattle a few cages throughout this competition. And of course, big moment for him as well, because I don't think he was really expecting to be in a situation where he was going to be here. Of
course, we all found out when he was taking part in the Masters final that he was going to get it had he have won the competition, which he did. So very lucky to be in this position to be here, and I can't wait to see how the Ferret does. So as I said before this game starts, I did my predictions a few days ago for this first round of action. The question is, what did I predict? Put your prediction in the chat. This is my prediction for Peter Wright against Johnny Clayton. Game number 3 of the night now, and this one, for me, is one of the absolute corkers of the evening. Now, Peter Wright, currently ranked 3rd in the world in the PDC Order of Merit, only by about 250 quid, though. He's coming up against another one of the players that are having their debut this season. That is Johnny Clayton, who, in my opinion, has been one of the most informed players in 2020 so far. He's been brilliant to watch, had a fantastic Ladbrokes Masters, and of course last season won the World Cup of Darts with Gerwyn Price. But for me, this game has to probably go to Peter Wright, and I've gone 7-5 in this match. I think it is detrimental for those top 3 players to have the perfect start to this tournament, especially with the 250 grand that's on the line throughout this competition. They need to get as much prize money on the board to keep themselves up there at the highest rankings of the PDC Order of Merit, especially for likes of Van Gerwen, which we'll come on to a little bit later on this evening. But for me, I think Johnny Clayton will give Peter Wright a very, very tough game. They've played off against each other many times before, but I think Peter Wright, he needs to get off to the best start in this competition, and I think he will. It'll be a close one, 7-5 to Peter Wright. Do you agree with me, or are you going Team Clayton? Let's find out. So that's my prediction. As I said, I'm going to say it every single time. Can't remember what I said. I think I said Peter Wright to win 7-5, I think. Who knows? But as I said, put your predictions in the chat for this game. Look, this should be quite a feisty match to watch, in my opinion. And not feisty in terms of the two players, butting heads against each other. It's just going to be a case of butting heads against each other, but on the hockey, because they're both quality players. And the big boys are out to play tonight. And one of them is Peter Wright. He's been talking up this competition for ages. And we all know he wants to go out there and win this. But we are coming up against a player who probably never even dreamt of being here. But after that win at the Masters, he found himself in a position to be welcomed into this tournament. And now he's coming up against some of the very best, as he always does, the Ferret in this competition. The two biggest 140 hitters in the sport, but in the last 12 months, Clayton leads by 17. That's one of the stats for you in this game between Wright and Clayton. The question is it going to end with a nice start for the debutants? We'll have to find out as we get underway with Wright versus Clayton. And look, for me, as I said, I think this is going to be a close game to call. But who knows? Who knows? It could start in fine fashion with a good win for Wright. It could start with a good result for Johnny Clayton, as George Noble is the referee for this game, as Daz has put in the chat. Thank you very much indeed. I will get my George Noble one at the ready for the 180s that we should see throughout this match. And I think we'll see a few of them. They can both hit the 140 category quite well. And I think we'll see a fair few 180s. And talk about 180s, there was a chance there for Clayton, but he will hit his first 140 of the night. So looking at what you guys have been saying in the chat, Daz predicting 7-4 to Peter Wright. Stephen predicting 7-2 to Peter Wright. And Clayton 7-5 for Dimsky. So interesting predictions in the chat for this game. As we start off with a pretty tight first leg. We've got Peter Wright at 270. Clayton at 216, but Peter Wright does have 3 darts in hand over Johnny Clayton. And Tony says your commentary sounds like a young Paul Nicholson. Thank you very much indeed. Hopefully one day I can be there doing it. Probably not, but YouTube will certainly do for now. But Bernardo says he wants the underdog to win, so you'll be backing Clayton in that situation, my friend. As Dimsky says he's cracking open my second bottle of Corona. Let's crack open the second can of Copperberg gin on the night. So Clayton at 76 here. Peter Wright at 87. First chance of the night for the Ferret to get his first Premier League leg on the board. And he'll have a chance at tops, which he hits. And that is a leg for the Ferrets. 1-0 to Johnny Clayton in his first game. And that'll be a real big confidence booster for him to get himself in the lead in this match. But I personally think the confidence of Johnny Clayton will come out on show in this competition. For me, the fact that
He's been in so many competitions recently, the floor tournaments, in the Masters, and done so well. He will come probably as one of the more confident players. We said before, because he's a debutant, he's kind of like a free hit. Doesn't really have to worry as such about how he's going to do, because the expectation for Clayton is not going to be as high as the likes as Anderson and Van Gerwen's and Peter Wright, of course, himself. But Peter Wright, chance here at a 180, the first one of the game, and he does. And get your George Nobles out, because that's the first one of the game. No doubt George Noble will be coming out a few times before the end of this match, with a few more 180s on the board, that's for sure. So Johnny Clayton here at 259. Peter Wright at 181 in the driving seat to maybe take his first leg of the game. But really poor third dart there. Really poor. I think he hit the 6 bed in the end. I don't know where he was going with his third dart. Really sloppy from Peter Wright there for the moment. And he's allowed Clayton a little chance to get back in here. So Peter Wright at 95. Gets treble 19, means 2 darts at double 19. Which he gets. And, I mean, for me, I will say that's a little bit of a let-off for Peter Wright. That third dart completely wayward. And in the end, the treble 19, double 19 finish does redeem what was a pretty poor moment for a player of Peter Wright's quality. But, look, at the end of the day, when you're one of the best players in the world, things will certainly go your way. And I think Peter Wright will be hoping things go his way a lot in this tournament. His best run being in 2017, the runner-up at the Premier League of Darts. Which is quite surprising, because you always feel like a player of Peter Wright's quality should be up there in the top 4. But, you know, last season, didn't have the greatest of ends to the Premier League. Found himself not finishing in the semi-finals, which is not something you hear often. And he'll be hoping this year he can maybe even go one better than the semi-finals and win it. Especially with Gerwyn Price now out of the competition. Stephen saying golfing, Andrew Galding is going to have a massive year. I mean, I tell you what, who knows? Who knows? I think it's a big year for a lot of players, isn't it, in the world of darts? And then Christopher MVG said, I live in Wright's head rent free, which I'm not going to lie, I kind of agree with. You know, we were speaking a little bit earlier about how Peter Wright, MVG, have been talking themselves up throughout the entirety of this tournament. And now, instead of talking the talk, they've got to walk the walk. And, well, Wright, looking to get 177, in which he does. That is classy. I mean, that is an interesting 177 there from Peter Wright. And he leaves himself down at double 8, which he might not have a chance at, because Clayton checks out 81 and goes 2-1 up. And apparently Daz has put a new set of darts for Wright, which you can never tell because he's got about 700 different sets. But he is the tinker man in the darting world. Never seems to be really settled with what darts he's going to use. Always fidgeting and changing them, and I respect it. I do respect it. He's one of those players where I don't think many could do it, change the darts constantly, but that's what he likes. That's what he prefers to do, and I understand that, and fair play to him. So, Peter Wright, 367. Johnny Clayton at 401. I've got to say, he started really well, hasn't he, the Ferret? Good confidence to his game, which is what you would have expected from a player of his quality. And I would love to see Clayton up there, maybe very similar to Durant, and get into the semi-finals and maybe even win it. But we're only on night number 1. There's 17 more nights left. We're a long way away from any dreams of winning this tournament, that's for sure. Dimsky says head spinning after 2 beers. Oh dear. Oh dear. I can tell you my head's not spinning yet. I did have a gin earlier on this afternoon after what was quite an awful afternoon of football action. Don't even mention it in the chat. It's been a terrible, terrible day of football. Does anyone know what the Wednesday score finished? Because I was watching Sheffield Wednesday earlier and they were 3-0 up in cruise control. Looked unbelievable as well, actually. The 3 goals they scored were fantastic, but I didn't get to see the end of the game, of course, because of the darts starting tonight. But it was a shambolic day of football, so I cracked open a can earlier on this afternoon, and
That sorted me out for the rest of the day. But Stephen's put in the chat, MVG needs to stop talking and just get on with the darts. His arrogance is not earned these days. Yeah, he needs to be the one player that walks the walk, because, I mean, the last couple of months has been awful. Absolutely awful. But a chance here for Peter Wright to check out. 67. Treble 17, double 8. Can he make it 2-all in this match? Goes for 9, which means he's going to go 18 for 1 dart at tops. And 1 dart at tops is all he needs. It's 2-all in this game, and that is a very good finish from Peter Wright. As apparently Wednesday won 5-0. What? That's bonkers. That's the magic of the championship, innit? 5-0. Ludicrous. I mean, the 3 goals they scored in the first half were stupidly good. And we're getting relegated, so, you know, cheers, Rotherham. But, no, jokes aside, I mean, that first half of Wednesday, if you're a Wednesday fan, you're absolutely buzzing. What a game. Really good confidence booster as well for the rest of the season. But back at the darts, both players at 4-1 here, 2 legs apiece. It is as even as you could possibly get it right now. But Peter Wright will get himself 1-2-3. He's down to 2-7-8. Clayton's going to have to try and respond, which he gets himself a 100. And there's an advantage here to Peter Wright to take the lead for the first time in this match. Chris saying sack McCarthy. I mean, it's not a McCarthy performance, is it, to lose 5-0? Absolutely crazy, that. Crazy result. So as it stands right now, leg 3, both players were averaging 120, which is bonkers. Really good pace to this game so far, and in fact, Peter Wright in leg 2 averaged 136.6, which is surely up there with the average in one of the legs that Gerwyn Price had in the World Darts Championship. That bonkers, was it set where he averaged like 130 or something stupid? Of course, much better doing it in the World Darts Championship than the Premier League. But Stevens asked, is Tony Peel still the Sheffield Wednesday manager? No, he's not anymore. It's Darren Moore, former Doncaster manager, former West Brom as well. Might remember him having a little stint when West Brom were in the Premier League. Nearly kept him up as well, actually. And a chance here for an 83 checkout from Wright, which he gets. And that is a brilliant, brilliant checkout from Peter Wright, and he takes the lead. As Dimsky says, Rotherham's got game in hand, not over. I think it is. I mean, we could still do it. Look, at the end of the day, if we get a win next week and some of the teams around us lose, then you're kind of back in it again. But with the way that our manager was talking today, my lord. I mean, if you could take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink it. That's all I'm going to say. You know, you can have all the players you want in the world. You can have wingers and stuff. You can have a quality side, but if you don't make the most of it and don't pick systems where players work best, you're never going to get anywhere. And, well, that's all I'm going to say about Rotherham for now, because we're absolutely shocking. And they're not worth mentioning right now, because we've got a good game on our hands here between Peter Wright and Johnny Clayton. 100 for Peter Wright leaves him down at 261. Clayton back at 349. But now saying, thought you were about to say former donkey. He's a donkey, and he poor one. I'm joking. Jack D, I support Rotherham United. Sadly. Yeah, no. Not nice times, is it, if you're a Rotherham fan today, which is a real shame. But we move on. Apparently West Ham are 3-0 up now. Who scored the other 2 goals? You'll have to tell me in the chat, Daz. And then Stephen says, I'm a Glasgow Celtic fan. Our year has been miserable. Supposedly Eddie Howe taking over as manager, announced tomorrow. Ooh. I mean, that's a positive one, isn't it? Having Eddie Howe take over, but Rangers v Celtic coming up, isn't it, in 2 weeks again? Drew each other in the Scottish Cup. I've always said, for me, one of the games I love covering on the channel is Old Firms. It's always one of the games where, I'm not going to lie, I take dibs before anybody else can. As Clayton checks out 72 on treble 16, double 12. That is a quality finish. And it's 3-all in this game, and both players finishing in style so far in this match. Dimsky's foot, you can lead a horse to water, but a pencil must be lead. Exactly. Perfect saying for the situation. And then Jack says, I'm a Charlton fan, you'll stay. I hope. I mean, the good thing is, as we said before, we've got games in hand.
We've got extra time to make up the pace from the rest of the pack, but it's slowly diminishing as time goes on. But to be fair, you're always going to be reactionary to results on the day. Tomorrow I'll wake up, new day, and I'll feel optimistic that we can. But, I mean, this is a quality game right now. The finishing is exquisite. It's beautiful. Both players, who are arguably some of the best players in form, are really turning up in style. And fair play to him. There's Peter Wright here at 280. Clayton at 301. Only 85 from Peter Wright. That leaves him down at 195. Clayton with a chance maybe to take advantage of the 85 score from Peter Wright. And he's got a chance for a 180. Oh, get your George Nobles out, because it's a 180 for Johnny Clayton. It's only the second one of the game. But Peter Wright is going to allow Johnny Clayton a chance here to maybe make it 4-3 in the match. Unless he gets himself a decent score, which he does. Well, they're saying that. Again. Third dart there. Very unlucky. Here's the treble 3. Johnny Clayton left at 1-2-1 here. Gets treble 17. One dart at bull. Doesn't get it in the end. He's the outer bull, so he will be coming back at 25. Unless Peter Wright can check out this 106 with treble 2014 double 16. Stephen's saying there's my 7-2 prediction out the window. As Wright hits the treble 20. Then the 14. Double 16 for a 4-3 lead. And it's brilliant. Ton plus finish from Peter Wright. And it's 4-3 now. And the snake bite roars in this game. And that's a quality finish. And he's 100% on his checkouts. That's what you want to see. Quality game right now. And I mean, this is really, really good to watch. I think Sky are having a nightmare with the stats tonight. Don't seem to be working, but Peter Wright on here for a 180, and he gets 123 instead. Chris has put Carlisle May got back-to-back wins, shouldn't be smiling, serious faces on training gown. All about keeping it up, not get carried away, having a cup of tea or biscuit. The thing is now, you're at that stage of the season where, depending on where you are in the league, you're either fighting for survival, and of course, like us, every game matters. You're at the top end of the table fighting for the playoffs title, regardless, whatever, and you've got games. If you're that middle pack, and I'm talking like the Forests and the QPRs, where you're safe, but you've got nothing to play for, I guess at this stage it's a pretty boring end to the season, isn't it, really? You've got nothing to really drive towards. Jack's asked if I've been to the Valley before. I haven't, no. I'm not going to lie. I've been to a few stadiums before, but I haven't actually been to the Valley. I always said a few years ago that I wanted to do go around the grounds and go and watch some different teams and such. And I think I went to watch Leicester. I went to watch Man City, which, to be fair, it's not hard to go to a Man City game. And that's no disrespect to the club. It's just easy to get tickets to go to them. And it was nice. It's nice. I'd like to go to a few more clubs in the future. As there's a 138 checkout from Peter Wright, and that is brilliant. It's now 5-3, and the Sizzle Boy wanted Wright to win 7-4, and he's on course for it with another finish. 100% on his checkouts. Johnny Clayton finds himself in a real dogfight right now. While they're saying that, he's literally finished a ton plus checkout and then matches it with a 7. Poor there from Wright even. Goes from a 136 checkout to a 7. And Clayton responds with a 140. And after all that hard work from Wright, Clayton might find himself back within a chance of getting a point in this game. Chris has put, we are 6 points off playoffs. If we win tomorrow, we're back to 3 points again in the playoffs. It's tight, isn't it? Again, like us, you've got a lot of games in hand, haven't you, Carlisle? Dad says 4,000 Bowen. Jesus. That's mad. 4,000 Bowen. Crazy, isn't it, right now, West Ham? On fire. Absolutely on fire. So, Peter Wright, 5-3 as it currently stands. Gets a 140 to get himself down to 254. And I've got to say, the fact for a moment there, he made a mistake and got the 7. He did hit a 7, by the way. He got 7 straight after hitting the 136. He's actually got himself back into this.
Although you still would expect Johnny Clayton to make this 5-4. And he's going to have 6 starts at least here to check out 129. Gets 19, which means he's going to have a chance at treble 20 in the bull. Gets the treble 20 and gets the bull! And that's a 129 finish. And this standard of finishing is out of this world. 2 of the best players in 2021 are showing up tonight. And that's what we'd expect from 2 exquisite players. And I mean, all Peter Wright and Johnny Clayton can do is just stand in admiration of each other, because, my lord, this is a class game to start off the first night of action. Of course, we've got a few more games to come tonight. We'll have James Wade against Gary Anderson, as well as Michael van Gerwen up against Dimitri van den Bergh. That's coming up a little bit later on this evening. But 5-4 as it stands. Johnny Clayton is not backing down. Can he get himself a point in this game? Or will Peter Wright maybe come out with a win? There's not been many legs in this game that have ended by less than 15 darts. Leg 7 ended by 15 darts. Leg 8 finished by 12 darts. It's crazy. I mean, Dimsky saying there, Norwich nearly up, great season so far. Yeah, I mean, if you're a Norwich fan, my lord, what a season you've been having. Absolutely crazy season. Be interested to see how you do in the Premier League as well. Because the thing is, you've got a large basis of the squad from when you were up there before still at the club. So if you can improve, I think Norwich should be in quite a good position to stay up next season. I think that the fact when you went up, you were quite unlucky with some of the other clubs that had gone up with you. I think it was just always going to be hard to stay up at that point. But I think you've got a squad that could do it. And of course, with the money you get as well, you're always going to improve over time. It just depends on who you bring in. There's going to be other teams like, Watford going up is going to be another good addition again for the Premier League. They've kept a lot of their players, Ismail Assar, Troy Deeney. Although, I'm being honest, I'm not going to really stick Troy Deeney up there as a Premier League player anymore. There's a chance for a 110 checkout, which he just doesn't get. And Steven saying, according to Flash Score, Wright averaging 102, Clayton 105. And just looking right now, they are indeed. Quality game this is. You just can't take your eyes off it. There's a chance here to make it 5-5. 3 darts at double 16 for Johnny Clayton. First dart is a good marker. Second dart is the 16. And 1 dart at the double 8 is all that's needed. It's 5-all in this game. And the composure is key in a match where now whoever gets the next leg will be guaranteed a point on the board. This is a critical leg in the complexion of this enthralling first match for Peter Wright and Johnny Clayton in the Premier League. Why can't we have games like this every night? Be absolutely brilliant if we could. Quality game. And Peter Wright might be on for a 180 here, just to add to the atmosphere, and he hits the treble 5 instead with his third dart, but he is down to 275 after 6 darts. It's crazy game, isn't it, this one? Dimsky, Ben was saying that you played well, but you need improvements. Yeah, definitely. They do need improvements, but I think they've got a good squad there. It's going to be interesting to see next season for me how clubs like Wolves, Leeds do. I think Leeds would be very happy with the season, considering they had missed a few of their players from injuries as such. I think Wolves would be really disappointed. I think Wolves have been really poor this season. And they'll be expected to be up, with the top 7 or 8 again next year. So they've got quite a lot of work to do, if I'm being honest with you. But apart from that, I think the teams that come up with you, I think Watford have got a few decent players there, but they need to improve, and I think they'll spend a lot of money. We're going to stop for a second because there's a chance here for 161 check out of the bull, and he hits the outer bull, Clayton. And that was a real chance to go 6-5 up. And now Peter Wright, treble 20, double 8. Gets 20. Gets 20. 1 dart at double 18. Oh, he gets it. And Peter Wright will take at least a point home. Johnny Clayton here needs to get the next leg, or he'll be going home in this match with nothing on night 1. And he's going to respond with a 140 to start off this 12th leg of the match. What a brilliant game. Really, really good. And Johnny Clayton has just not backed down in this game, but now Peter Wright's coming out to play. Both players are on 3-6-1 after 3 darts. But Johnny Clayton's looking for a 180 and gets it. And that is the perfect response from Johnny Clayton. And that's only the 3rd 180 of the match. But it's been a tight one for sure. Is he going to get a point here? Benelda says, I want to try to play darts. Maybe I'll hit the pub on Friday. Honestly, Benelda, what you need to do, get yourself a dartboard. You know, if you've got space in the house, get yourself a dartboard and get yourself playing some online games. I'd happily play you. I'm not a great player. I average a very, very awful score. If you want to play class players, play Chris, because I mean his average is ludicrous. I'll tell you that for sure. But you get yourself a dartboard. I mean, I need to buy a new one. Because mine's absolutely ruined. But chance here for 6-6. 1-2-1 checkout needed for Johnny Clayton, which he's not going to get. And now a chance for Peter Wright to check out 1-3-8 and maybe steal the win away. As Clayton must have thought for a second he was going to get a point on the board. Treble 20, treble 18, double 12 needed for the snake bite. And he hits a treble 5 to start. And Clayton will be coming back here for a chance to get a point against Peter Wright on the first night. Treble 18, double 12. The quality of finishing has been outstanding. It's the treble 18, and the quality of finishing is brilliant because that is a 6-6 draw on the night. What a brilliant, brilliant game in the Premier League to start off on night number 1. That was an absolute belter of a match between Johnny Clayton and Peter Wright, and you can tell that the snakebite is seething at the fact that he's not been able to take all 2 points home in this game. But credit has to go to one of the best players in 2021 so far. That is the ferret, Johnny Clayton, who found himself in a real battle against Peter Wright, and every single time the snakebite got himself into a good position, the ferret got himself back into the game, and overall it's a 6-6 draw for Peter Wright and Johnny Clayton, and once again probably a very well deserved result for both players in that match. Fair play to them indeed. Very, very good game. We've got 2 more games to come tonight. James Wade coming up against Gary Anderson, of course. James Wade coming in, if you're not aware, as a replacement for Gerwyn Price. Gerwyn Price coming up with a COVID outbreak or positive test, although we'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment's time. As for Gary Anderson, not being in the greatest of form in the world, can he get 2 points on the board? We'll have to find out indeed a little bit later on. And then the final match of the night, Van Gerwen coming up against Dimitri van den Bergh. Should be quite a good match to end the evening. Can MVG begin in fine style? We will have to find out very, very shortly indeed. As I always do in between this section of the stream, don't forget, if you are new to the channel, please do leave a like and subscription if you are new and you haven't checked out our content, because we don't just do darts on the channel, we've also got football and a hell of a lot of it to come. This is what's coming up on Sports Corner over the next week. For the first time on the Sports Corner, we're going to be doing multi-stream watch-alongs, which means there'll be a few streams available at the same time as each other live on the Sports Corner for the first time. If you're a darts fan, then of course stick around with us for the Premier League of Darts, which is available every single night from around about 7 o'clock over the next week. But if you're a fan of football and you'd rather watch the Champions or Europa League, we'll have other streams available on our channel across the week dedicated to those 2 tournaments in football. So let's take a look at what's to come on the Sports Corner over the next few days. Don't forget the Premier League of Darts Night 2 will be live tomorrow from 7:10. You can join me for all of that. Then on Tuesday you can also join the likes of Rowan and the Sports Corner team as Manchester City take on Dortmund and Real Madrid take on Liverpool in the UEFA Champions League. Their watch along is live from 10 to 8. On Wednesday, Premier League of Darts Night 3 alongside the other Champions League fixtures, including Bayern Munich, PSG and Porto Chelsea. And then on Thursday night, don't forget, the Europa League live quarterfinal goals show is live from 10 to 8 on the Sports Corner. As you can see, I mean, it's quite a hectic week in football, isn't it, right now?
As we said, we're going to do multi-streams, so we'll have 2 streams live on the channel over the next week. I'll be streaming the Premier League of darts throughout the entirety of the week. But there'll also be another stream up on Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday night. Tomorrow it'll be Rowan and Will covering the Manchester City Dortmund and the Real Madrid Liverpool game, and then we'll also have on Wednesday night the Bayern Munich PSG and Porto Chelsea match. That'll be covered by Kieran L and Kieran D, so both Kierans together for that one. And then on Thursday night you can join all the boys from the Sports Corner team. They'll be covering the Europa League quarterfinals, every single game on the channel, so you do not want to miss out on that if you are a big football fan. And then if you want to have a quick jump in here and see what's going on, you can jump in between the streams, or you can have both on at the same time if you want. Why not? Because there's lots of sporting action to come over the next few weeks. But if you've just missed that game a moment ago, my lord, where have you been? It's been quite an enjoyable night of darts in Milton Keynes. First night of action in the Premier League of darts, and it certainly has delivered to the extent I think some of us were expecting from this competition. We started off the night with Nathan Aspinall with a 7-3 win over Glen Durrant. It was a very good result for the Asp, who beat the defending Premier League champion in quite convincing fashion. Durant not really turning up in the competition as of yet, but let's not forget it's only night 1. Rob Cross in a 6-6 draw against Jose de Sousa. It was a topsy-turvy game, very back and forth, but in the end Rob Cross, who was 6-4 down, got the last 2 legs of the match to find himself a big point on the board. And then we saw a moment ago Peter Wright and Johnny Clayton in a really good battle against each other. Johnny Clayton, my lord, he would just not back down against Snakebite Wright, and in the end the debutants so far are undefeated. Will that streak continue on? We'll have to find out a little bit later on when Dimitri van den Bergh plays off against Michael van Gerwen. But let's just take a quick look at the stats for that game a moment ago, because I mean it was an absolutely ludicrous match between Peter Wright and Johnny Clayton. And when you actually look at the stats of the game, we start off with the averages. 101 average for Peter Wright, 105 average for Johnny Clayton. He just wouldn't back down, would he? He would not go away. And I think even Peter Wright in the end will have to put his hands up and say, you know, look, for every single opportunity I had, to finish, Johnny Clayton matched me all the way, because the most important stat on the board, and I don't think we've actually seen this stat often, if not, I don't think I've ever seen it, 100% checkout average from Peter Wright. He finished every single opportunity that he had in this match and still didn't come out with a win, which just proves how well Johnny Clayton did in the game. Both players getting themselves 100 plus checkouts, 138 checkout for Peter Wright and 129 checkout for Johnny Clayton. As for the checkout percentage for the Ferret, it was 46.15%. That's 6 out of 13 on Johnny Clayton's doubles. Peter Wright, 6 out of 6. Incredible. And he still didn't get the win. There were only 3 180s in the match. 2 for Johnny Clayton and 1 for Peter Wright. As for 140 pluses, 14 for Clayton and 12 for Peter Wright. And I think Wright will probably look back at a few moments in his game where ultimately there were some really dodgy darts here and there. I think there was the one of the legs where he hit 7 after checking out. I think it was the 138. He checked that out and then only hit the 7. And I think there was another one as well where he went a little bit wayward and hit 6 at one point. So there were a few murmurs in the game of disappointment. But overall, I mean, fair play to Johnny Clayton. He just kept going, and eventually the debutant did come out with a point on the board. So that is the 3rd match of the night done. Let's go on to the 4th match of the evening, and this one, I mean, this is going to be another fairly interesting game because James Wade is coming up against Gary Anderson. Now, if you're not aware, and we'll talk about it now while we've got a bit of a chance while we get ready for that next game. Gerwyn Price, he's not taking part in this tournament. He will not be taking part of this tournament because of a positive COVID case. The news came out at about 10 a.m. this morning that the world number 1 would not be taking part due to this. However, he came out quite recently in one of his Instagram videos and said he hadn't had COVID, and he did 3 tests at home and they all came back negative, which you'll be able to see on the video I'm actually going to put up on the screen in just a moment's time. So this is the video that Gerwyn Price basically put up on his Instagram a little bit earlier on this morning and then deleted it. Basically, it was just him saying that he's taken some of the COVID tests just to make sure he's okay. And when he actually looks at his tests, which you can see now, they've all come back negative. So I have no idea what's going on there. Doesn't really matter now at this stage because Gerwyn Price is going to be taking part. It's set in stone now. James Wade is taking his place. That is that. They can't risk it at the end of the day just bringing him back because 3 of the tests he's done at home have come back negative. And I think it's a shame. There are a lot of people out there who are Gerwyn fans. I think there's a lot of people out there who are just fans of the Iceman in general who would have loved to have had him here at the tournament playing off, especially against Gary Anderson, a repeat of the World Darts Championship final. But sadly, he can't be here, so James Wade comes in instead. And look, I'm really excited to see how James Wade does. Technically, you could look at him and say he's the most informed player in actual televised matches because he was the last person to win a tournament back about 4 weeks ago at the Ladbrokes UK Open. But because he's not practiced, is that going to hinder him? I don't really know. I mean, he did an interview quite recently, which I will put up on the screen again in a little moment, where he's talked about the fact that he's been chosen to be played in this tournament. He was always a player who was there just in case one of them dropped out. So James Wade, not notoriously known for practicing. He even says in his interview himself he doesn't really practice before matches. Is he going to come back to bite him? This is what he had to say a little bit earlier on this afternoon when he was told he was going to be taking part in the tournament. It's quite interesting. So that's a little bit of a look at what he had to say a little bit earlier on. I'm not going to play too much of it, of course, because, well, it's just easy for time-wise. But, I mean, it's quite surprising. When I woke up this morning and saw the news that Gerwyn Price wasn't taking part, it's one of those where some people have argued that it's a farce and the tournament should be stopped because Gerwyn Price can't play. But the only example I can give you is the fact that Adrian Lewis, and I think, was it Stephen Bunting as well? Both of those couldn't play at the Ball Sports, I think it was the Grand Slam, not too long ago, a few months. They had to give up their spot in the tournament. Simon Whitlock was one of the players who was asked to come into it. And Whitlock, in the end, actually nearly went on to win the competition and made the final. But in the end, it was one of those, the semi-final, where he actually got booted out in the end. But it was one of those where, even I've made the same mistake, Chris, but it's one of those where the rules cannot be bent for Gerwyn Price, and as much as the Price fans want this tournament to be stopped or to allow him back into the competition, the rules are rules. They can't risk bringing him back because of the whole COVID outbreak and stuff like that, and sadly he just has to miss out on this tournament for this year, which is a shame because I know in some of the interviews he was saying the next target was to go on and win the Premier League, but he's going to have to put that target on hold for another year now and wait until the Premier League comes back again in 2022. But apart from that, let's take away the fact that Gerwyn Price can't play in the tournament. I originally recorded my prediction for this game, but I can't show it now because it's Gerwyn Price, who I predicted the game for. But if I was to sit here and predict how James Wade does in this tournament, I love it. I love the fact that James Wade is in here. I think many people argued that James Wade should have been in anyway. And that, after that win at the Ladbrokes UK Open, after being one of the more consistent players of the last generation, he should have always been in to be in this tournament. And I completely understand why people think that. I completely understand why people say he should have been in. And I'm also completely understandable to why people are saying Gerwyn Price should come back in. It's fair because it was his spot originally. But James Wade is one of the best players in the world, one of the most consistent players there has ever been, in my opinion. There is not many players out there who have gone on to be as quality as James Wade in the levels of consistency. Now, Sky have just put up Gerwyn Price against Gary Anderson. It's not, it's James Wade. But in terms of this game itself, let's take a step back for a moment and predict just the game on its own. I think James Wade could win this one. I said before about Gary Anderson, I'm a massive, massive Gary Anderson fan. Huge Gary Anderson fan. My favourite player of them all. But the problem for me, I think, for Gary Anderson is, specifically this year so far, he really talked up the last couple of months, basically saying that 2021 was going to be the best year for Gary Anderson to go out there and get something in these big tournaments. But he's not really had the greatest of years so far. It's been a very slow burner, and he's been practicing with Ryan Searle. Not really seen much of him so far. Maybe this is the chance for Gary Anderson to go out there and get something. As for James Wade, of course, he probably would have never expected to have been jumping into this tournament. He was always on the list of reserves to go into it just in case. But James Wade,
finds himself in a very, very good position to be coming into this competition. And fair play to him, because I've got a feeling Mr. James Wade might go far. So do put your predictions in the chat for this one. I am going to go James Wade 7-5. It's going to be a tight one, I feel. Which is what I've probably said for every single game of this tournament so far in my predictions. But I'm going for it this time, 7-5. And the machine, is he going to start his Premier League campaign in fine style? I mean, the greatest thing would be if James Wade went on and won it. The outrage would be unreal. But one of the best finishers in the last generation of darts is up against one of the most prolific players to win trophies in the last generation. James Wade against Gary Anderson. They both have multiple major titles between them. James Wade, of course, picking up the most recent one with the Ladbrokes UK Open. But Rusbury is the referee for this game. And as the cheerleaders come off, we're about to get underway with this fixture. This should be quite the interesting affair. As for Gary Anderson, it's an interesting one. I mean, James Wade has won this in 2009, as I said before. Last time he was in the competition, I think he was towards the bottom end of the table, wasn't he, in 2017, 2018? And then, of course, Gary Anderson's won it twice, so we both know how to win it. But the question is, will Gary Anderson put a third to his name? Or will James Wade put a second to his name? It's a very exclusive list to be winners of this tournament. The likes of Phil Taylor, the likes of Van Barneveld, James Wade, of course Gary Anderson. They're on that list, which not many can say they've been on it. And in fact, a stat, both players have hit the 170 check out 11 times in the Premier League, so make of that what you will. Are we going to see one tonight? I doubt it. But let's get it underway. Big game this one. Will the machine beat Gary Anderson? Rusbury gets us underway here, and we are off with our penultimate game of the night. I mean, Chris has put, don't see the point of cheerleaders. You're there to watch the darts, not to get men's attention. So they take you out on a date. Absolute nonsense. I mean, in that respect, I know they're not there to get a date, but I kind of understand your point of not having the cheerleaders now because of COVID and stuff. But look, at the end of the day, if you're one of the cheerleaders taking part, the fact that you're able to continue your job as Wade smacks in a 180 with his first 3 darts, that's how you start off. That's what you want to see. Bernie's asked, where is Price? It came out this morning, Bernie, that he had a positive COVID test. So James Wade has taken his place instead, which is a shame for any Gerwyn Price fans. But he won't be taking part in the tournament, sadly, Bernie. But, I mean, look, at the end of the day, with the whole cheerleader stuff, there's not really much point of them being there. But, as I said, at the end of the day, look, I don't mind them. And for the cheerleaders, the fact that they get to continue on the job in this world is crazy, isn't it? It's mad. They'll be happy. They don't care. Easy pay as well, isn't it? Although I'm saying that, I probably couldn't go up on stage and do what they do. Maybe one year you might see me up on stage as a cheerleader. So we're down to 67 here. Gary Anderson with 135 to leave. 133 to leave 132. So treble 19, double 20 needed for James Wade. He's going to go down the 17 route, which means he's got 1 dart at tops for the first leg, and he gets it. And I mean, James Wade. Look, I'm not going to back him in this game because I am a big Gary Anderson fan, and I'm always going to back Gary Anderson. But I want to see Wade win it. Why not? I want to see Wade win this tournament. The man is in brilliant form. The man is high in aspirations right now. I mean, the interviews and stuff that he did after the UK Open win was brilliant. Just the fact he had a smile on his face is something I love. And I know James Wade is not everybody's favourite. There's a lot of people out there that aren't really a fan of him. But I like him. I like his persona. I like his personality. I like the way he plays. You cannot be a good darts player. You can't be a good darts player and been around for 15, 20 years. Daz says, needs Rust the voice. I've got it, don't you worry, Daz. I have got it, my friend. It's there and ready for the 180s. You will get it when the 180s come around as this game continues on. But
I like James Wade. He's a very calm player, do you know what I mean? There's been some moments in his career where he's had little spats and stuff. I always remember the one with Simon Whitlock a few years ago. That was an interesting one. The gif that goes around these days of him waving at Whitlock as he walks off the stage. But, you know, these days now he's very calm, very quiet, just goes along his business. And that's what I like about him. As for Gary Anderson, of course, my favourite player. I'm always going to back him all the way. Gary's winning this. As he only gets 60, which means a chance here for Wade to check out 106. Treble 20 needed. 1 dot at tops if he gets the 6. Which he does have 1 dot at tops. And he just hits the 20. So unlucky there. So Gary Anderson. Chance at double 10 to make it 1 apiece. Got 2 darts at double 5. Now 1 dart at double 5. But he does go in. Very good mark of that second dart. And Gary Anderson gets himself a leg on the board. And, you know, let's turn our attention away a little bit from James Wade for a second and talk about Gary Anderson, because I think a lot of people don't really know what Gary Anderson's going to do this season. I said before, he's always talked up the fact that this is the year of Gary Anderson. He's going to get back to his best and he's going to be practicing left, right and centre. And I've not seen enough from him to say that he's been good enough this year. I think he knows himself, look, that with a few events going on in this early stage of the season, it is going to be a bit of a slow start for Gary Anderson. And, you know, when we get to July and October, November time, when we've got the Boyle Sports events and the World Match Play, that is when we might see Gary Anderson turn it up a notch. Let's not forget this is only the, technically, 3rd event of the year, if we're not including the World Championship, where Gary's been playing. But, you know, he will continue, I think, to develop as time goes on. I would expect him to go out there and probably be in the top 4. Made the top 4 last year, of course, in the semi-finals. Lost to Glen Durrant in quite poor fashion, actually. But he was scrapping for a large part of that Premier League season to get into that top 4. It was a very tight one for large spells. Let's not forget MVG missing out, which was a massive moment. So Gary Anderson down at 140. He's going to have 6 darts in hand with James Wade back at 227. So a good opportunity for Gary to really put himself into a good position in this 3rd leg. And he does. Switches down to the treble 17. Gets 116 to leave 3 darts at double 12. James Wade going to have to try and respond, which he's got a chance for a 180. And does. So 180 there for James Wade just to put the pressure on. Gary Anderson with 3 darts at double 12. Which he's going to have to take here. And he doesn't. Which means Gary Anderson. Frustration for him. And a chance here for James Wade with 2 darts at tops. And surely a player of his quality will take it. And he does. And you can see Gary Anderson absolutely seething at the fact that he didn't have a 2-1 lead. And the machine here piling on the mistakes of Gary Anderson. And a 2-1 lead, which is well and truly deserved. And I mean, Gary Anderson here, the frustration early on in this game will begin to build. Chris saying, don't get me wrong, I'm not disrespecting women. I'm just saying I don't see the point of cheerleaders. My niece could do that on stage and get paid. It's not dancing, it's moving your arms, that's it. I mean, I wouldn't say that to any cheerleaders in person, Chris, because you would get quite the bad answer back from them. But as I said, look, at the end of the day, I guess it's there to make things look nice, isn't it? It's one of those where ultimately they'll be happy that they get to do it. They've got quite a big following as well, haven't they? I'm pretty sure on Instagram and Twitter and stuff. So fair play to them. They've got quite a name in the darting world. And I'd actually say probably one of the few dart sports left in England that actually uses cheerleaders. And there's a chance here for James Wade for another 180. Get your rush sprays out now, because it's another 180. That's 3 now for James Wade and 3 in the match. And the machine is looking in cruise control of this game so far. Chris saying it's like the opening ceremonies at Euros and World Cup. Absolutely hate it. That hassle, just get the games on. It's a show, isn't it, at the end of the day? Money talks. That's why we have the official World Cup song every 4 years. Chance now for Gary Anderson, though. 2 darts at tops, which he only needs 1 dart. And that'll be a little bit of a confidence booster for Gary Anderson. Bit of a head shake from him.
But you'll know deep down inside that had James Wade gone 3-1 up there, he would have found himself in a right predicament early on. So a very, very tight start to this match. Chance for Gary Anderson to smack in his first 180, which he doesn't. But a 140 will do. And do you know what? Fair. It's going to be interesting to see how James Wade does. I think a lot of people were worried that in this game specifically, and maybe in the first 1 or 2, he was going to be a bit slow because he's not played much. And at the end of the day, he's had a very good start. As Bernie says, cheerleaders are there for a husband. Probably what Chris wanted to say without saying it. Anderson down to 2-2-1 here. Wade at 2-6-1. All I'm going to say is I'm not going to get involved because someone from uni will be watching this as part of my work. Although saying that, I'm sat here drinking anyway, so... Anderson down to 90. James Wade at 2-1. Big chance here for Gary Anderson to take a lead in this match. Get himself back into the front foot of this game. Needs treble 20, double 15. Could be a really good opportunity here. Gets a 1 to start. Really low dart. Awful first dart. And in fact, he never really composed himself with the other 2. He's going to have to go for double 8. Unless James Wade checks out the 96 here, which he's not going to be able to unless he gets the treble 19, which he does. 1 dot at double 18. Oh, it's James Wade, isn't it? Of course he's going to check it out after making a mistake. Who am I to say that James Wade is not going to check out 96 after hitting the 1? 3-2 to the machine. And that is brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant. 3-2. And that might shut up some people who are expecting Wade to be very sloppy and not do well so far. Look, it's a long competition. But with finishers like that, I think Wade will be up there this season. At the very upper echelons of the table. But as I keep saying, it's only night number 1. Let's not get too carried away. But Gary Anderson here, just for me again, it's... For me, a case of just showing a bit of the frustration from what we've seen in the past. Playing okay, I guess. And when we look at the stats a little bit later on, it might tell a different story. But Wade here on for another 180 in the match. And gets it. That's another 180. 4 now for James Wade in this game. As Gary Anderson might be about to go 4-2 down. And that's when the pressure will really begin to build. Treble 17, double 18 needed for James Wade. He's going to get 17. Which means he's got treble 20, double 5. Gets treble 20. 1 dot at double 5. And I mean, of course, it's 4-2. Brilliant. From James Wade. Absolutely brilliant. And all Gary Anderson can do is give a slight nod of approval while the look on his face is of absolute disappointment and anger at himself. Because he's just not really been able to get himself into this game so far. And when you're coming up against a player like James Wade, you've got to finish every chance you get. As Gary finally smacks in his first 180 of the match. That's number 5 of the game. And a big moment here for Gary Anderson. Dad's saying he's not playing in the next Players' Championship in Germany. And depending on where the World Cup is, Anderson will pull out. Yeah, I saw the interview this morning. I understand his point. I guess for personal safety and stuff, you know, the fact of travelling abroad and stuff right now is quite scary, isn't it? But your Daily Memes has just put, look at the latest video I posted about Peter Wright hitting a 7. I thought he did. He did hit a 7, didn't he? He checked out the 138 and then hit 7 afterwards. I was getting questions in the chat asking if he'd actually hit a 7. He has. Oh, honestly. I mean, just his luck, isn't it? I mean, he got a point at the end of the day. He'll not be too worried about the 7, but it happens in darts, doesn't it? I can't remember. There was a guy a few years ago who hit 3, didn't he? In the World Darts Championship. There was Dirk van Dijvenbode who checked out a 180 but had bust it because he tried checking it out on 3 treble 20s. Got carried away. It's mad. Bernie has put, Wade has had enough to think about all week. He's had enough to think about for the last 4, has he, to be honest? Ever since he's got his win, I don't think he would have ever expected to have been here.
I know they have the list as he smacks in another 180 Wade. That's now 6 on the night. And he's down to 32. But Gary Anderson with a chance to check out 60, which he does. And it's 4-3 in this match. And Gary Anderson just slowly but surely keeping a tight kind of, not advantage. He's just keeping behind James Wade is what I wanted to say. And it's a tight lead, but he's not in front, is he? He's just slithering behind. I'm hoping he can get back into this game and make it 4-4. But yeah, as you said before, I don't think Wade would have ever expected to have been one of the players. Even though he's on a list of players who can be drawn in, I don't think he would have expected to have been actually called up for it. I mean, my problem with the way that this tournament has been set up, and you're going to get problems anyway, no matter how this tournament was set up. The problem for me is, let's say one of the other 9 players now picks up COVID in this tournament. Let's say Gary Anderson, for example, picks up COVID next week. When this first little section's finished, we're into night 7, he's picked up COVID. What happens then? Do they bring somebody else in and they just replace the stats that Gary Anderson's got at that point? Or are we just going down to like a 7 or 8 man tournament and people are just, do you know what I mean? People are just going to get booted out. Because for me, it's just one of those where it's like, it could happen. It's going to be unlikely because these players aren't really going to be doing much in between. Yes, there's like 1 week, 2 breaks, but it can happen. I mean, Gerwyn Price, I'd assume he hasn't really done much in terms of going far over the last few weeks, but he got COVID somehow. But if let's say Gary Anderson does get COVID or something, what happens then? Does somebody else just get drawn in? Who knows? But of course, we'll find out as time goes on if somebody does unfortunately get COVID. But chance here for Gary Anderson, check out 74 on double 16, and he's missed it with 2 darts. Big opportunity for Gary Anderson to make it 4-4, and now 2 darts at tops for James Wade, and 1 is all he needs. And somebody asked me earlier in the chat who is the best finisher on tops. It's that man, James Wade, who smacks in another finish on tops. And I mean, you can never allow the machine a chance at tops because he's always going to hit it every time. Always going to hit it. And James Wade restores the 2-leg buffer and only needs 1 more leg to guarantee a point in this game. Benny's saying they should let a player pick someone to play for them. I mean, it's not a bad shout. I think had Gerwyn Price probably have not been called up because of COVID and stuff, had Clayton not been in the tournament, I'd have guessed it would have probably picked him, but it's bonkers, isn't it? It led to a Wright debate on Twitter with the whole Gerwyn situation after that video he put up, but 140 for Gary Anderson here. He's down to 2-2-1. Wade at 280 with a holder throw. 6 180s in the match. 5 for Wade, 1 for Anderson. 10 140s for Anderson, only 4 for Wade. What a crazy, crazy game. 71% on doubles for Wade. As Gary Anderson smacks in his second 180 of this match. And he's down to 41 here and a chance to maybe make it 5-4 in the game. And again, Gary Anderson just keeping behind James Wade. Keeping himself in the game. And he's got 2 darts at tops. 1 dart now, which he misses. And the frustrations for Gary Anderson begin to build again. As James Wade has a chance to check out the 117. Which he's not going to get, so Anderson will be coming back. As Chris has put, I feel surprised, but it's done now. Get on with it. Exactly. That's the best way to look at it, isn't it? It's all done now. And Benny said Anderson would pick round Searle. He definitely would. He definitely would. I agree with you on that one. So, darts at tops here for Anderson, which he hits. And he's now 5-4 in this game. And Gary Anderson again just finds himself 1 leg behind the machine. Can he get himself back into this match? Make it 5-5 and then it becomes a very interesting game. But it just seems to be every time Gary gets a leg on the board, Wade seems to bite back. Well, they're saying that. 121 start there for Gary Anderson to leave himself down at 380 is not the worst start. But when you've got a player who smacks in a 180, it's always going to be tough to keep James Wade at bay.
8 180s now in the match. 6 for the machine. So 3-2-1 for James Wade. Gets another treble 20 on the board. That's 4 in a row. Then only hits a 20, so no treble 20 on 9-darter chance, sadly. Would have been nice to have had one of those. Last 9-darter we had in the competition was last year, actually. Peter Wright getting a 9-darter against Daryl Gurney, who's actually, funnily enough, been on the back end of 2 9-darters back-to-back in the Premier League. They're the last 2. So he's become the new James Wade of giving 9-darters away. Are we going to see one in this tournament? As Gary Anderson has a chance to check out 1-5-4. He's not going to be able to check it out in the end. And it's a sloppy third dart. So Wade at 87. Gets treble 17. Has 2 darts at double 18. First dart misses. Second dart hits the 18. So Gary Anderson coming back here with a chance to make it 5-5. Treble 17, double 12. Can he do what Wade couldn't just a moment ago? He hits the treble 17. And second dart hits the 12. So James Wade, double 9 now to make it 6-4 and guarantee a point. It's not been good for doubles for Gary Anderson tonight, but it's not been good for Wade either, who busts his score. And Gary Anderson now has a chance to redeem himself. A double 6. First dart, he's a good marker. Second dart's in, and Gary Anderson makes it 5-all in this game. Are we on course for a third consecutive draw on the night? Whoever wins this next leg is guaranteed a point minimum in this first game for James Wade and Gary Anderson of the Premier League. Don't forget, we've got another 4 nights to come up over the week. We are back tomorrow night from 7:10 for all the action. Looking forward to it. Lots of big games to come as the Premier League kicks off in style. Lots of action over the next 2 months in one of the biggest parties in darts. And this party has started off in quite some style. James Wade at 3-1-6. Anderson at 2-7-1. It's a very, very nervy moment in the game for both players. They just can't seem to hit over a ton right now. As we sit 5 apiece. Currently, Gary Anderson at 1-7-8. James Wade with an opportunity maybe to just peel away here, although he's hit a treble 1, and I mean, in the end, 43 is not going to be good enough. And now, a chance for Anderson to maybe just get a foothold of this leg and take the lead for the first time in a while. And he does really well there with his third dart to hit the treble 20. And he's going to have 3 darts here at 80 to guarantee a point. Big moment in the game this for Gary Anderson, who's not had the greatest game on finishing. Hits the 20, so he's going to have 1 dart at tops. And that second dart was really awkward. And he doesn't hit it in the end. And that second dart, just a little bit too high in the 20 bed. Made it awkward for Gary Anderson to try and put it in the bed. And now a chance for Wade at 96, and he gets it. And it's 6-5 to Wade. And again, it's a case. You can't miss chances against James Wade, because you know every time he's going to come back and he's going to bite you in the arse. So that's exactly what Gary Anderson's done there. He's allowed James Wade the opportunity to have a really good chance at the 96 finish, and he's taken it. And you just can't miss chances with Wade. 50% on his doubles, the machine. Gary Anderson, only 26%. That's 5 out of 19. It's not good enough. On a night where James Wade might be about to get his first victory on the board against Gary Anderson. And the way Gary Anderson's played tonight, had he been up against Gerwyn Price, I think this score would have been much more convincing. It's been not great in my opinion. Again, it's looked sloppy so far, and I understand in the first night or two it will be sloppy as players get themselves back into form as such, but we've already seen tonight some very good games, Wright, Clayton being the best one. Some players are looking really up for it at this early stage. Gary Anderson needs to do some work here. So Wade at 180, Gary Anderson at 256. You're going to have to get a treble here, which he does to get 100. And James Wade now, if he can get himself a few trebles on the board, apologies for yawning, then maybe Wade might be about to win this game 7-5. So Wade down to 80 here. Gary Anderson must check out the 156. Gets one treble 20, needs another. Now double 18 for a 156. Oh, it's brilliant from Gary Anderson. It's 6-6 and he left it right to the end for a quality finish. Where was that all game long, Gary Anderson? Now there's a smile on his face. And James Wade must feel like he's been absolutely robbed of 2 points in this match. I mean, the Premier League has started in style, but 156 checkout. And that is the Gary Anderson that we know and love. And a point on the board. A third consecutive draw in this evening's action. And I mean, well, Gary Anderson, a bit of a lucky man, you have to say, for a second there. Because if he had not taken that out, James Wade, with the 80, would have probably gone on and checked that out in the end. But fair play to Gary Anderson. Really, really good checkout. Another very decent game overall, and a 6-6 draw, not 6-5, ignore that, I don't know why it's saying 6-5, I think it's broken in the end, but a point will do for Gary Anderson and James Wade. A really, really good game indeed. We'll be back in a moment to talk about the action of what we've just witnessed between Wade and Anderson, but we will just have a quick look at what's to come on the channel in the next few days. Don't forget, if you have enjoyed the stream, please don't forget to leave a like and a subscription if you are new to the stream. A big thank you. We've had a lot of new subscribers tonight. We're only 15 subs away from 2,000. So thanks to all of you that have been leaving subs throughout this evening stream. It's greatly, greatly appreciated indeed. But for those of you that maybe don't know what we do on this channel, we do live watch-alongs for various sports, including darts, of course football. We've got F1 watch-alongs as well. And we also have some podcasts, including a wrestling podcast that we have going up every few weeks. So here's a look at what's to come on the channel over next week. It's a very, very busy week. For the first time on the Sports Corner, we're going to be doing multi-stream watch-alongs, which means there'll be a few streams available at the same time as each other live on the Sports Corner for the first time. If you're a darts fan, then of course stick around with us for the Premier League of Darts, which is available every single night from around about 7 o'clock over the next week. But if you're a fan of football and you'd rather watch the Champions or Europa League, we'll have other streams available on our channel across the week dedicated to those two tournaments in football. So let's take a look at what's to come on the Sports Corner over the next few days. Don't forget the Premier League of Darts Night 2 will be live tomorrow from 7:10. You can join me for all of that. Then on Tuesday you can also join the likes of Rowan and the Sports Corner team as Manchester City take on Dortmund and Real Madrid take on Liverpool in the UEFA Champions League. Their watch along is live from 10 to 8. On Wednesday, Premier League of Darts Night 3 alongside the other Champions League fixtures, including Bayern Munich, PSG and Porto, Chelsea. And then on Thursday night, don't forget, the Europa League live quarter-final goal show is live from 10 to 8 on the Sports Corner. So that's a bit of a look of the content that's coming up on the channel in the next few days. Lots of football in action, of course. The Champions League and the Europa League is back. As I said on the video, we're doing some multi-streaming. So basically, if you are a fan of the darts and a fan of the Champions League, maybe you want to watch both streams, then you can. We're going to have 2 streams live on the channel at one point. So we'll have myself on at 7 o'clock and then the Sports Corner, rest of the Sports Corner team, they'll be live. Tomorrow that'll be Rowan and Will. They'll be covering the Manchester City v Dortmund and Real Madrid v Liverpool games. And then on Wednesday it'll be KD and KL covering the Bayern PSG and FC Porto Chelsea games. So if you want to watch those streams, they'll be available on the channel as well, alongside this stream where I'll be streaming the Premier League of Darts over the next few nights. So no doubt there's going to be a lot of action on the hockey as well as a lot of action in the Champions League. That's to come, of course, from tomorrow night from about 10 to 8 UK time. You don't want to miss out on that content as well. But Daz is asking in the chat, what are the screens behind the players? Somebody asked that on Twitter. They've got like iPads. Is that what you're talking about? There's like little iPads, I think, that are there. I don't know what they're there for, if I'm being honest with you. It's not like they were ever going to get used by the players, but really, really strange indeed. But I am going to update the screen for a second there. As we saw a moment ago, Gary Anderson probably getting himself out of deep waters there. It was a very, very interesting game. Look, for me, James Wade probably is feeling in his head, how the hell did I not come out with with something in that match. But Gary Anderson with a quality finish at the end to save himself. And of course get a result in that match as it ends 6-6, not 6-5. I have no idea why it's saying it's 6-5, it was 6-6. But let's have a look at the actual stats of the match to talk through what went on in the game. There were 8 180s in the match, 6 for James Wade and 2 for Gary Anderson. And at one point it just felt like he was going to be running away with the 180s tonight, the machine, and he certainly did in terms of how the stats panned out. As for the averages in the game, it's actually quite even. 98.13 average for Gary Anderson, 98.14 average. Although Sky Sports is saying it's a 98.7 average from Gary Anderson, which is quite strange because you would actually thought Gary Anderson played worse, but he didn't. He played better. And of course, as we expected, the highest checkout, 156 from Gary Anderson at the very last leg of the match, was the important moment for him in the game where he got that 6-6 draw. The highest checkout for James Wade was a 96. Checkouts wise, really good from James Wade, 50% as you would expect from a player of his quality. That's 6 out of 12 on the doubles. As for Gary Anderson, only 30%. That's 6 out of 20 on the doubles. Not good enough tonight from Gary Anderson, and I think he'll know that he needs to do better when he comes up against some of the bigger players in this tournament. As for 140 pluses, 14 for Gary Anderson and 11 for James Wade. So you can see stats-wise, he didn't actually play bad, but if you were to tell Gary Anderson in person those exact stats, I think he'd say, I don't really care, I played terrible tonight, I'm probably a little bit lucky to go out there and get a 6-6 draw. So very, very good game overall. Really, really enjoyed it. And look, do you know what I think the important thing is for a lot of the big players in this competition right now is that not really anyone is getting a foothold in these early stages of the first round. You know, you can see Cross, Sousa, Wright, Clayton, Wade, Anderson all picking up 1 point on the board, which it doesn't really matter at this stage. It's only going to be when we get to the later stages of the competition, when we reach nights 10, 11, 12, and we get towards Judgment Night, where points are going to matter. But, you know, look, if everybody can stay around each other for the next few weeks, it's going to make for a very, very exciting Premier League of darts overall, as we've got one more match to come up tonight, which I'll talk about in a moment. But Ben Peterson is in the stream. How are we doing, my friend? Hope you're all good and you've been enjoying the darts tonight, because it's been quite a decent night so far. But hope you're all good indeed. Daz has put, I think, Ostian, Rees and Jacob have subbed. And thank you to everybody that has subbed. And then Alex has put, nice hair, mate. Thank you very much. I'm not going to lie, I am so ready for when the hairdressers open next week, because I'm going to get it trimmed. But I've been trimming it myself. Why not? It's at that stage where I've literally just started trimming it, and I think I've done a fairly decent job for now. It's doing very, very decent indeed. Yves has asked, can someone send a link where I can watch live stream? If you want to watch it, I think somebody's doing it on Twitch right now, so twitch.tv, try and check that out. They might have one on there for you, but as I said, I can't show it because of copyright, which is a shame, because I would if I could, but unfortunately not. Wasim's asked, how old am I? I am 20 years old. Don't look it, look about 2, 12, 13, but I am 20 years old, legal age to drink as well, which we've had a few tonight, and we've got one more game to come. Michael van Gerwen coming up against Dimitri van den Bergh, and I mean, this is going to be a brilliant game, isn't it? Michael van Gerwen, look, hasn't been the greatest of form, if we're being honest, over the last year. I think he knows it himself. I watched a video quite recently. I think he did forfeit darts with Gerwyn Price and Rob Cross, and funnily enough, he came out and said basically, I think Rob Cross did the darts with his left hand, and I think he joked and said he was better than my right hand at current. He knows he's in a bad run of form right now, but look, at the end of the day, this could be the great opportunity for him to really put his mark down. Peter Wright tonight, only picking up a point. Aspinall, as it currently stands, will sit top of the table on 2 points after his victory against Glen Durrant. So if he can go out there tonight, pick up 2 points, get himself into first or second, then he's going to put himself already in a good position on the driving seat for the future matches to come. Of course, he's got a massive game tonight. But look, Dimitri van den Bergh, World Match Player winner, brilliant player to watch. Hasn't been great in 2021 so far, but I've got to say probably 90% of the players in this tournament haven't either. So who knows tonight? It's a fresh, clean slate for both players. And I will actually show you my prediction for this game, because we can, of course, have a prediction for this one, which I will do in just a moment's time. Oh, let me turn it off. Just come back to that in a second. But do put your predictions in the chat, because I'll read them out. As Wasim looked 18 and 30 at the same time, guess it meant 20, not 30. And I tell you what, when I went to get these drinks, I didn't even get ID'd. I'm either looking really old or getting away with it. But yeah, 20 these days, not doing too bad. But look, I think this is going to be a very, very good game to watch. Are we about to see another 6-6 draw? Who knows? I just think, we said about it before, earlier on in the stream. I think it was, I'm trying to remember who said it. Somebody in the stream, I think it was Stephen earlier, who said he personally thinks that MVG has said too much recently and hasn't done enough on the hockey, which is, I completely agree with. He needs to come into this competition, go out there and get something. Maybe even, of course, go on and win it, because a lot of people are starting to worry that maybe MVG is coming towards the end of the hot streak. I don't think he is. I think he's going through a blip. We saw Phil Taylor go through a blip in his career. Eric Bristow had a blip. Players will never be at full effort all the time. You just can't be. Even the world's best sports stars are never 100% all year and all season long. You know, you look at the likes of Messi, Ronaldo in football. Yes, they can put 20, 30 good games together, but there might be 5 games of the year where they don't have great matches. It's the same in darts, and I think he needs to go out there and get a win, because if he doesn't tonight and he comes out with a loss and Dimitri van Bergh wins, it already puts MVG in a bad position, because tomorrow I think he's got Peter Wright, and that is a humongous game to continue on the action with the Premier League. Wasim's asked, did you see Gerwyn's Instagram story about testing negative 3 times at home? Yes, I did. I've been showing it on stream a little bit earlier on. It's bonkers, isn't it, with everything that's been going on with the whole COVID situation with Gerwyn Price. I don't know what's going on. But without further ado, as I said, throughout the entirety of the Premier League of Darts, what I've done is I recorded my predictions for what I feel is going to happen. Now, I actually recorded my predictions before the tournament started, so of course, with Gerwyn Price, we couldn't do it earlier on. But I can do it with Van Gerwen and Van den Bergh. So these were my predictions a few days ago for the tournament ahead. And more specifically, for who's going to win between MVG and Van den Bergh. Who are you thinking is going to win? Tell me in the chat below. And we're on to the last game of the night. If I'm not sloshed on stream yet from drinking, then that's a good sign indeed. But we've got one more game to come up, and that is, of course, Michael van Gerwen. He's coming up against another debutant, that is Dimitri van den Bergh. Now, I was saying a little bit earlier on in my predictions that Gerwyn Price and Gary Anderson haven't been in the best forms themselves, but you've only got to take a look at Mr. Michael van Gerwen and say he's not been in any form at all. It's been quite a tough couple of months / last year for Mr. MVG, who maybe needs to get himself moving a little bit, because the likes of Peter Wright, as we said earlier, they're only about a couple £100 away from him in the order of merit. So we could maybe see MVG move down lower and lower in the rankings maybe in the next few months. But back to this game at the very least. He's coming up against the Betfred World Match Play winner, Dimitri van den Bergh, who has had a few injury issues, especially with the neck, not the neck brace, Jesus Christ, definitely hasn't had the neck brace on. The leg brace is what I wanted to say. He's had the leg brace on over the last few months, and I think he'll be hoping that if he can get a win over MVG in his first match, it'd be a brilliant, brilliant way to start off the competition and getting himself a few points on the board, because I think Dimitri van den Bergh, and I don't really know where he's going to finish in this competition. You know, he's one of those players where he's very tricky to tell what he can do, and look, if he can be at his very best, which is something he hasn't been in the last few months, then who knows where he could finish. But overall, for this one game specifically, I'm going to go 7-5 to MVG. Is it the right idea to go for him? Maybe not. I think maybe 6-6 is a little bit more likely. But look, MVG at the end of the day, you always feel like at some point he's going to have to turn up. Is he going to turn up now? Who knows? We'll have to find out. But for me, I'm going to go MVG 7-5. For the last game of the night, put your predictions in the chat. And let's hope that if Josh isn't too drunk yet, he can get through the rest of the game. And there we go. That's my predictions for the last game of the night as dancing Dimitri van den Bergh comes out onto the stage for the first time without the leg brace on, which is something that I think a lot of people were saying he needed to take off. And he's boogieing right now, but will he be boogieing at the end of the game with a point or two on the board? We'll have to find out, because, well, MVG is coming out in a moment, and look, he has to mean business in this tournament. And I think I said on my prediction I was going to guess MVG to win. I think he will win. I think he has to, because the pressure's going to be on him as this tournament continues on. But this is the game I think most people have been looking forward to on the night. It's probably not the biggest game of the evening. I think Wright Clayton was in terms of form, but everybody wants to see how Michael van Gerwen's going to respond, because, as well, he's using his old darts, apparently. We saw in the UK Open, I think it was, he was using some new darts, and I think he said he was going to revert back to his old ones again. Which, look, again, he's been in a position, I guess, like a few others, Peter Wright and that, where he's been tinkering with darts constantly, trying out new darts and weights and stuff, which is fair, because I guess at this early stage of the season is when you want to test stuff out before we get into these bigger competitions. But he's actually opted to go back to his old darts, which might be a very good positive for him, because that's what we know him for. We know him for using those darts, the ones that he's been so ruthless with in the past. As for Dimitri van Bergh, I think personally for me, he's been one of those players in the last year that hasn't been in the greatest of form in the world. But don't forget, personally for me, I think he's also been... 2 seconds, let me just sort that out. Apparently my headset has died. I will sort that out. Give me 2 seconds here. Of course it'd die, wouldn't it? Unbelievable. Is that going to work? Never works when you want it to, do you? Absolute nightmare. I don't know what's going on. But I'm going to have to sort it out. Apologies about that. Never works, does it? Technology. It's an absolute nightmare. Right, let's get this game underway anyway. Put your predictions in the chat for this one. Van Seal's saying he thinks Van den Bergh's going to win this game. He's hoping, of course. Very best of luck to both of the players on the hockey. And we'll get this match underway in a moment while I just try and sort out what's going on with my my sound issues. But for me, look, this should be a cracker. As MVG tries to start with a 180, he doesn't in the end. And I'm not gonna lie, has my charger died? Oh, this is not good. There we go. I don't know what was going on. I can't just put the sound on again. Apologies about that. I don't know what was going on, but I have mine on my PlayStation 4, so usually I'm charging my controller up at the same time while everything's going on, but wasn't charging. Strange. So back underway now. Van Gerwen, he'll be hoping he could come out with a victory today. Van den Bergh, without that knee brace, for me, is better. So much better. And then Chris put the iPads behind players are for players to be on the right table, which will impress Gary Anderson. Oh, yeah, it's not a bad shout, I guess. Makes Gary Anderson's life easier, doesn't it? And then, of course, as you said, they have got cameras on them, I think. I mean, let's be honest, they didn't have to go out and buy an iPad, did they, to say it was going to be on whose table? I guess it's easier to do it, isn't it? And then you can just put the text on of who's got what table. But a bit flashy with the iPads, isn't it? But Van Gerwen here at 140. No, my controller's just not charging. It's decided to give up. I don't know what's going on, if I'm being honest with you. I don't know if my charger has just died or what, but apologies about this. I'm going to try and get it set up so I can just actually have it charging. So MVG, chance here at tops on double 20, which he gets, and that's a 1-0 lead for MVG on the night. Good start there for Michael van Gerwen. He'll be absolutely buzzing with the start in the game. I mean, Chris put a sticky note, didn't Exactly. They don't have to go flashy with the technology now, do they, at the end of the day? They can literally just go out there and, as you said, get a sticky note to make life easier. What is going on with this? I've got no idea. I don't know. The charger's broke, which is very annoying. I might have to buy another one of those. Of course, it'd happen, wouldn't it, in the last game of the night? But look, good start for MVG. First leg on the board of the match, which is something I think Dimitri van Bergh will have not wanted him to get. Could be the only debutant tonight to not get anything out of the match. And a very impressive leg indeed. Look, MVG, it's very rare he ever averages under 100 in matches. And we're all saying he's still going through a blip. He is, technically speaking, but I mean, this man can be ruthless at times. Is he going to bring that ruthlessness back again? As I genuinely have no idea what's going on. Give me 2 seconds here. I have got no fucking idea. Why is it not working? Genuinely, I think my charger's broke, which is very annoying. So there we go. Back underway with the action now. Chris saying, who cares? Shouldn't really matter what table you should be on. Take your pick. Yeah, exactly. The table's a table at the end of the day. Just get on with it. So Vandenberg needs to check out 90. Gets treble 20. He's got 2 darts for the double 15 and gets it, and that's a 90 check out. And Dimitri Vandenberg gets his first leg on the board of the Premier League. It's his debut, of course, and that'll certainly be a big positive booster, as MVG will be looking to pounce on every mistake Vandenberg makes tonight. And he's doing very well, matching Van Gerwen so far. Starts off with 122. And I mean, that's exactly what they're saying in commentary right now. Both players playing well without actually winning matches, which eventually you would assume both players will eventually get themselves into a position of winning form. And Vandenberg, look, he's a great player on his day. Probably, for me, one of the very best of the present, and will be one of the best in the future. Got a long way to go in his career, hasn't he, Dimitri Vandenberg? Chris saying Garrison must be a big fan of tables. He must love a trip to DFS. Must love it. So 227 here for Van Gerwen. 258 for Dimitri Vandenberg. Who's going to take the lead in this game? So big early leg in the match. Chris says that Gary Anderson probably wants the best quality table from the furniture shop. At least it solves those problems. You know, we don't have to have those issues anymore. We can just get on with the game without having the worry of the table gate, because that was quite the situation, wasn't it? Treble 20 here for Vandenberg. Needs treble 18 for 1 dart at the ball for a 164. Check out. Oh, how about that from Vandenberg? Beautiful from the Belgian. With a 164 finish on treble 20, treble 18 and the ball. That is saucy. And I think that's the highest finish of the night, and probably will be one of the highest finishes of the tournament. As Vandenberg smacks in a 134. MVG looking to respond with a 180, and he does. And that's the first 180 of the night in this game between MVG and Vandenberg. And I wouldn't expect there to be... I would expect there to be quite a few in this match. That's for sure. Should be quite an interesting occasion, this one. I think I've got my controller to stand up. No, I haven't. I've absolutely flopped it. I'm just trying to sort my controller. What's going on? 111 average for MVG. 108 average for Dimitri Vandenberg. Both players playing very, very well indeed in this early sector of the match. Of course, I've just dropped my controller. And the pace of this game is certainly going to pick up as it continues on. 140 here for MVG. Gets himself down to 81. Dimitri Vandenberg at 132. Going to have to take out 2 balls and a double 16. Gets a ball with the first one. Needs another one. Oh, he doesn't. So he won't be coming back at the 132. Unless MVG doesn't check out the 81. Treble 19, double 12. Hits 19. Treble 12, double 13, and that's an 81 finish. And it's 2 apiece, and this is a thrilling affair between 2 players that have been quality over the last few years, but are going through a bit of a rough patch right now. And, well, you'd expect from 2 players of high quality, a thrilling affair. And then Chris saying, didn't think it was about Tablegate. I think it was Suljovic's slowness of his throw. I think Tablegate was up there with it. I think that was one of the extra frustrations that built on as the match went on. That's kind of the starting point, as Vandenberg tries to smack in a 180. But a 140 will do. And, well, I mean, look, I said at the end of the day, this wasn't going to be the mouth-watering fixture of the night in terms of the clash and the consistency. But it's turning out to be the game of... potentially the game of the night, let's say. With how it's panned out so far. All 4 legs have been won by 14 darts or less. In fact, 2 of them have been won by 12, 2 of them won by 14. This is how well both of these players are playing, as Van Gerwen averages 110, Van den Bergh averages 106 in this Premier League affair. The last one of the night, of course, which we're looking forward to more tomorrow. When do you think this spat is going to end for MVG of the run of form as Van den Bergh smacks it at 140? Do some people in the chat feel like that this is it? This is where the end of the line is for MVG as a good player? Or do people think that this is just a blip in the system? Because I know people joke about it online all the time and such, but it's just one of those where, for me, I think he's got a long way to go. Does ask around for his earphones like yours. He's not earphones. It's not earphones. It's basically the PlayStation 4 controller I have. I have my PlayStation 4 streaming it. I'm trying to charge my controller up, but the charger won't work, so I think it's broke. Great. So I'm going to have to buy a new one. As there's a chance for a 25 checkout here for Van den Bergh. 1 dart at double 4, which he gets, and Van den Bergh is now 3-2 up in this game, and there is a somber look on the face of MVG right now when Dancing Dimitri finds himself in the lead, and look at that reaction from MVG. It's a great reaction. I mean, that is the face of pain, and there's a long way to go in this match. But this is not an easy game for MVG, and to be honest, over the last year, when has it been easy for MVG? It hasn't, has it? There's not been many games he's come out of and said it's been easy. Every player just seems to be able to come up against him. You know, when we watched him at the World Championship, as Van den Bergh looks to smack in a 180, which he doesn't. But when we saw him at the World Championship, time and time again, in every game he played, every player was averaging over 100. I think the one game that I remember, one of the most enjoyable matches of the tournament, of course, was that game when MVG played, I forgot his name, Ricky Evans. And Ricky Evans averaged over 100, and it was one of the best games of the tournament for enjoyment. And of course, the quickest game I think there was because of how quick Ricky Evans plays. But everybody just seems to turn it up on a notch, and that's understandable. When you play the very best, you want to beat them. And MVG is finding himself in a right battle here against a Belgian who will not back down. So Van Gerwen at 247 here. MVG at 167. Sorry, Van Gerwen at 247, Van den Bergh at 167. It's very, very confusing with the names, isn't it? Chris saying during MVG blip start of last year, it's not just MVG blip of form. Players taken to the game. Exactly what I was saying. Players are really taken to him now. There's a chance here for a 167 checkout. Doesn't get the treble 19, which means there will not be the 167. And Van Gerwen with a chance at the 147 checkout. Gets treble 19. Gets treble 18. 1 dot at double 18, which he just doesn't get. So Van den Bergh will be coming back at 68 here as Van Cielamino is egging on the Belgian. And I think many people will be hoping that Van den Bergh wins. So 68 for Van den Bergh. Gets 20. Gets 16. 1 dot at double 16, which he doesn't get. And Van Gerwen will be coming back with 3 darts at double 9 for 3-all in this match. Hits the 9, which means he's going to have 1 dart at double 4, which he gets. And that's a beautiful finish from Michael van Gerwen, who once again gets himself back into this game. It's now 3 legs apiece. And that was a big roar from MVG. And, well, we're not going to have the passion merchant that is Gerwyn Price. And although I love his passion, it is going to be something we really miss in this tournament. But a little roar there from MVG at 3-all. Is this going to be MVG's night to get a win on the board at the Premier League? Last time we saw him in the Premier League, he was knocked out. Didn't make it into the semi-finals. Really had to battle hard to try and push into it. But after, I think it was the game against Daryl Gurney, I think his last match was, he just couldn't go on and get the win against Gurney. And ultimately, in the end, was booted out of the tournament and didn't make the top 4. And he'll be hoping to make up for that this year. He knows how to win competitions, but Van den Bergh with a chance at the 180, and he gets it! 180 there for Van den Bergh, and that's the second of the match. As MVG looks to respond with a 180 of his own, and he does, and that's brilliant from MVG. And that's 3 on the night now. And he's down to 164. Daz has asked, can you finish 132 on tops? Fucking hell, no, I can't. I think my best checkout is... I think I checked out 90. I don't think I've checked out a ton plus. And there's a chance here for a ton plus. Oh, treble 20, treble 18. Bull! Oh, it would have been a brilliant 164, wouldn't it? From Van Gerwen. But he doesn't. And Dimitri now with a 161. Can he do what MVG couldn't? Hits the treble 20. Hits the 17. So no bull there for Van den Bergh. And now a chance for MVG to take a 4-3 lead with 2 darts at double 8. And 1 dart is all that is needed. And MVG now takes the lead in this match. And that'll be a real big confidence booster for the Dutchman. And now Dimitri van den Bergh's got to hold his throw. 4-3 as it currently stands. A brilliant game. And as much as he's asking questions to Michael van Gerwen, the averages have just dropped slightly. MVG now at 101. Van den Bergh at just under 100. 99.8 to be precise. Who's going to hold it together? Who's going to be the one that keeps calm and comes out with a victory? Or a point if they draw, let's not forget. We'll have to find out. But as Chris says, as much as I'm neutral to darts, I do love to see Aspinall do well. He would be my favourite player if I had one. And he's on course here to be top of the table tonight, which means nothing. You know, it's only night 1, but I think there'll be also a bit of positivity that the fact he's got that first win on the board and everybody else has been drawing. But there's still a chance for another player tonight to go out there and get a victory in this game. Van den Bergh at 244. Van Gerwen at 342. He gets a 140 to leave 202, and it's a really tight game. Every leg in this match so far has been really, really close between these two players. Who's going to take the next leg on the board? If it's MVG and he makes it 5-3, you start to think in your head, is he going to be able to really take it to MVG van den Bergh, or is it going to be a case of MVG coming out on top? We'll have to find out. He's down to 102 here, MVG. Van den Bergh back at 184. It's very unforgiving, the world of darts. Even when you're playing at 100 average, you can still come out with nothing, but I guess that's sport for you, as there's a chance here for Van den Bergh to check out on 50. 18 double 16 needed for the Belgian for 4 all in this game. Gets the 18, 2 darts at double 16. And 1 dart is all that's needed, and it's 4-4. And now there's a roll from Van den Bergh, who takes it to MVG. And, well, you feel like every single time Van den Bergh hits a barnstormer of a finish, Van Gerwen is going to come back with something special. And with the way that this is panning out, are we on for a 4th 6-6 draw on the night? As Van den Bergh looks to smack it a 1-7-7, but a 1-3-9 will do. And again, when we're looking at the legs on the board, leg 1 was won by 14, leg 2 won by 14 darts, leg 3 won by 12 darts, leg 4 won by 12 darts, leg 5 by 15, 6 by 18, leg 7 by 14, and then the last leg was won by 17 darts. It's pure class from both of these players, who are currently over 50% on their doubles. Quality game. Why would you not love darts? How could you not love darts when there's stuff like this going on? The passion from both players tonight is certainly on show. And it's only night 1. They've got another 16 nights of this, unless they get relegated, of course. But 1-1-3 check out here. Treble 20. Has 1 dart at tops for a 1-1-3. And doesn't get it. So chance here for Van den Bergh to get himself down. But Van Gerwen will be back with 3 darts at double 10. As Van den Bergh's not on a finish. And to be fair, 92 is probably not going to be enough for Van den Bergh. So 3 darts to double 10 for MVG for 5-4. First dart a little bit awkward, so he moves over. Second dart's in though. And it wasn't awkward for a man like MVG now, was it? Awkward is his second nature when it comes to incredible shots. And that was really well worked there from MVG. And he now finds himself one leg away from a guaranteed point. Unless Van den Bergh can make it 5-5, which he's got to at this stage of the match. And it's going to be a good start there for Van den Bergh. 140 to begin. Only an 83 from MVG. Not the greatest of starts in this 10th leg of the final match of the night. And it's a nervy, nervy game. And look, credit to the debutants tonight. They've all come out on show as Van den Bergh smacks in another 140 to get himself down to 2-2-1. It is a credit to both players, the fact that they're really giving it a go right now. But for the debutants, they've all done well. Clayton played brilliantly well. Sousa played sloppy at points, but got into the match. And, well, Van den Bergh was always going to have the toughest game as he looks to smack in a 177 and does, to leave himself down at 44 after 9 darts. And surely now, Dimmy Van den Bergh is going to make it 5-all with 2 darts at double 16. First dart hits the 16, 1 dart at double 8, and he doesn't hit it. But he's going to have plenty of chances with MVG back at 2-8-1. It's crazy, isn't it, this game? It's a special, special sport, darts. And I'll be glad when fans can get back into the stadium again for games of this quality. So 3 darts at double 8 for Dimitri Van den Bergh. First dart's in, and it's 5-all now in this game. And a chance for either player now to guarantee themselves a point in this fixture. Who's going to take it though? That's the question, as MVG starts with 100 in this 11th leg of the match. And MVG just sorting himself out here a little bit. Just checking his leg, I think, in that situation. He should be alright to get himself sorted out at the very least for this next leg. But MVG still averaging over 100. Van den Bergh on the cusp of 100. 99.9 is what he's currently averaging right now. And then Daz has said that'd be a good match when it comes around, Wade v MVG. I think every game, a lot of the games in this competition are going to be good to watch. There's not many bad ones, if I'm being honest with you. Chris said, not going to lie, these games go quick. Well, that's the thing I don't mind with the Premier League. Of course, when we do the World Championship and stuff, because they're all in sets, you know, sometimes we can be here for like 4 or 5 hours doing these streams. But because these are only like 12 legs and best of, they always go quite quick. It's strange, isn't it? It always feels quick, the Premier League of darts. But I don't mind it. It makes my life easier. You know, how long have I been live for now? I've been live for 3 hours and 20 minutes. So, to be honest, quite usual, isn't it? In like the World Championship, I think some of the games were like 3 hours. Well, the events, sorry, were 3 hours. So, it always feels quicker. It's strange. It's strange, but 154 here for Van Gerwen, which he's not going to check out. So a chance here for Van den Bergh to guarantee a point if he can check out the 112. Treble 20, treble 20, double 16 even for Van den Bergh for 6-5 and a point on his debut. Got 1 dart at double 16 for a 112, and he doesn't get it. And a chance for Van den Bergh goes wide, and MVG now with a chance at 96 to guarantee a point. Gets the treble 20. 2 darts at double 18. 1 dart at double 9. And he doesn't get it. And he's hit the 9. And now a chance for Dimmy Van den Bergh to take a point in this game with 3 darts at double 8. And surely now the Belgian's going to guarantee a point on his debut. 2 darts at double 4. And 1 dart is all he needs. And the debutants have all come out with at least a point. And all MVG does is roll his eyes because he's now 1 leg away from 0 points. And he would go second bottom on night number 1. Is he thinking in his head, I just can't seem to get a win right now? As Van den Bergh will be no doubt hunting the win here. MVG will be praying he just gets that 1 point now. I mean, the dartboard's been obliterated tonight. There's a chance for a 180 for MVG, but a 140 will do with his first 3 darts in hand. Moments of nerves for MVG. He's had too many times in the last year where games of high quality have just not gone his way. As Dimitri van Bergh only gets 120. Would have had a 180, but his dart ricocheted out of the board, and now MVG full of concentration, and there's a little roar from him as he gets a 140. He's down to 2-2-1 after 6 darts in hand in this last leg of the final game of the Premier League of Darts tonight. Dimitri van Bergh just trying to match him up, and his third dart's sloppy. He hits the 7, and Michael now in the driving seat to make it 6-6. And well, he's going to capitalise with a chance at the 180, and his dart ricochets out of the treble 20. And MVG is down to 101. He'll have at least 6 darts here, you would assume, with Van der Merwe back at 194. Although saying that, classy there. 130 from Van den Bergh puts himself down to 64. So 101's going to have to be taken out here from MVG. Just organise his darts for the moment. Treble 29, double 16 needed from Michael van Gerwen. Gets the treble 20. Gets a 5, which means double 18! And that's a point for MVG. And it's a 4th draw on the night in the final game of the Premier League this evening. And MVG, he had to fight hard in this game to get a point in this match. And we know every single time when he comes up against big opponents that they just don't seem to back down when he plays them. And again tonight, credit to Dimi van den Bergh, who fought hard in this game, but in the end, MVG, he gets a point on the board. And look, it's only night 1 in this competition, but when the rest of the pack have all picked up points pretty much this evening, apart from Glen Durrant, it was detrimental that Van Gerwen got himself off to a decent start. And with both players averaging around about the 100 mark, it was a classy game overall. And we have had 6s across the board tonight. 4 6-6 draws on what has been a fantastic evening of darts. Let's go through the stats of this game for a second and just talk you through it, because it was a really good game to watch. Both players, as we said, coming into this match just not really on the greatest of form, although they had played well, they just weren't getting wins. And in the end, Michael van Gerwen averaging 100.16, sorry. Dimi van den Bergh averaging 99.52. There were 3 180s in the match, 2 for MVG and 1 for Dimitri van den Bergh. Checkouts wise, not too bad. 42.86% from MVG. That's 6 out of 14 on his doubles. As for Dimitri van den Bergh, it was 46.15% on his doubles. That's 6 out of 13. Both having 100 ton plus checkouts. 101 for Michael van Gerwen and 164, the highest finish of the night, from Dimitri van den Bergh. And look, I think there MVG will be thinking in his head, like many players tonight, I might have just been a little bit lucky to have got a draw there, but overall, I think a 6-6 draw again on the night is a very, very deserved result. And when we look across the board, there are results tonight. Only 1 win in our first night of action in the Premier League of Darts. It was Nathan Aspinall at the beginning of the evening with a fantastic 7-3 result against Glen Durrant. Really, really good performance from him. And in the end, the defending Premier League champion will sit bottom of the table. Rob Cross in a 6-6 draw against Jose de Sousa. He found himself under some real pressure. He was 6-4 down against the special one, but the Portuguese debutant just couldn't hold on, and Rob Cross got himself a very vital point in the end. Peter Wright and Johnny Clayton in a fantastic clash. That was our best game of the night, I think, in my opinion. A high-quality game with both players averaging over 100, but in the end, Johnny Clayton, brilliant performance from the Ferret. He was able to get a 6-6 draw against Peter Wright. James Wade against Gary Anderson. James Wade must feel like he's been robbed of a victory tonight. It was a brilliant game overall for James Wade. Gary Anderson, I think it was like 130 plus checkout with his last 3 darts in hand of the match to get a 6-6 draw. It was, I think, a 156 checkout. which was brilliant indeed. And then, of course, we saw a moment ago Michael van Gerwen with a 6-6 draw against Dimitri van Bergh. A really good result for both players on the night. And it means as the table stands, not really much going on. Aspinall sits top of the table on 2 points. The rest of the pack all sat on 1 point tonight with, of course, Glen Durrant sat at the bottom of the league with 0 points. But look, it's night 1. It doesn't really matter in terms of the complexion of the actual table. There's a long way to go in this competition, and there is still so much more to come over the next few nights in the Premier League of Darts. Tubbs is in the building. Hope you're good, my Filipino brethren. Just the 1 win on the board, which is really surprising indeed. But don't forget, the Premier League of Darts has just started. There's a long way to go. Don't forget, we've got a whole week of action to come. I'll be live again tomorrow night from 7:10 for all that action with night number 2, which includes a mouth-watering clash between Peter Wright and Michael van Gerwen. Who's going to win that one, we'll have to find out tomorrow. But we've also got action on Wednesday, Thursday and Friday night. That's nights 1 to 5. All this week. We'll have a 10-day break and then we're back for night 6 to 8. That's Monday to Wednesday, with Thursday night on the 22nd of April being Judgment Night. Who is going to be booted out of the Premier League? We'll have to find out in a few weeks' time. Then we'll have a few weeks break. We'll be back on the 5th of May. Nights 10 to 12, that's Wednesday to Friday, 5th to the 7th, 3 good nights overall. And then on nights 13 to 16, that is on the 24th to 27th of May. We'll have the last 3 normal nights before the semi-finals and finals take place. That is the playoffs on Friday, the 28th of May. You absolutely do not want to miss out on the action, because I think we've got quite the eventful few nights to come. If you're wondering what's to come tomorrow, there's some brilliant games overall. Of course, Gary Anderson is the first match up tomorrow night. He'll be coming up against Jose de Sousa, the special one, who is going to try and get that first win on the board for both players. Johnny Clayton, he will be taking on Glen Durrant. Can Glen Durrant get his first victory on the board, or will Johnny Clayton come out on trumps? Brilliant start for him for the Ferret. Match number 3 sees Dimitri van Bergh coming up against Nathan Aspinall. Could Nathan Aspinall take a little bit of a foothold at the top of the table? We'll have to find out indeed. And then the absolutely mouth-watering fixture of the night. Michael van Gerwen takes on Peter Wright. What a game that is going to be tomorrow before it all ends with James Wade taking on Rob Cross. That is going to be a very, very good game indeed tomorrow. Both players, of course, coming out with a draw on the night. Don't forget, we've got more content to come on the channel over the next few days. Lots of content, to be precise. It is going to be a big week indeed. Tomorrow, for the first time on the Sports Corner, we're bringing multi-streams to the channel. That's right, 2 streams going on at once. You can join me for the Premier League of Darts, or you could join the boys for the Champions League. Lots of action to come, of course, from the Premier League of Darts. Very excited to see that game between MVG and Peter Wright. What a match that one is going to be. But with these multi-stream watch-alongs, all of the action tomorrow for the Premier League of Darts. That's night number 2. That will be starting off from around about 5 to 10 past 7 tomorrow night. That is with me, of course. If you have enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like and subscription, because we're here every bloody night for the darts. We love to see it. Then, at 8 o'clock, you can join Rowan and Will for Manchester City Dortmund alongside Real Madrid Liverpool. That's part of our multi-stream programme. On Wednesday, Bayern Munich PSG alongside Porto Chelsea. Both the Kierans will be live for that from 10 to 8 as part of our multi-stream feature. And then on Thursday night, also multi-stream feature, Europa League quarter-final first leg goal show. All the boys will be live for that from 10 to 8 UK time. So lots of darts and lots of football to come. So only 1 win on the board tonight. Real shame if you were a big fan of victories, but it certainly means the table is going to be very, very tight indeed. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the first stream of the Premier League of Darts. Don't forget to leave a like and a subscription if you haven't already. We are only, I think we're about 15 subscribers away from 2,000, so your support is greatly, greatly appreciated indeed. I'll be back tomorrow from 10 past 7 UK time. It's a barnstormer of an evening. It's MVG versus Peter Wright, but who's going to come out on top? I've been your host, Josh. As for now, I hope you guys have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are, and we'll see you tomorrow for the darts. Good night.